Chapter 1043. Tell me, is it your idea to target the Lin family or is it the power behind you?
Towards Long Ming, Wang Yun did not have the slightest bit of patience. Even though he knew that the other party had a formidable cultivation base, so what? As someone who had seen experts like Linley, Long Ming of Annihilation before him was nothing more than an ant compared to Linley. You broke into my Long family because of the Lin family? Long Ming was startled when he saw Wang Yun. He looked at Wang Yun in surprise. Just now, he was still thinking about how he had offended these people in front of him. Now that he heard Wang Yun's words, he finally understood that it wasn't him who had offended them. It was because he had dealt with the Lin family that they were provoked. However, since when did the Lin family have such a powerhouse holding the fort? Wasn't the most powerful person in the Lin family that old man, Master Lin? When this doubt arose, Long Ming suddenly felt that it was a mistake for him to target the Lin family. This feeling flashed through his mind. When he thought of the Lin family's current situation, he immediately denied that feeling. Forget it. Since I've already targeted them, why should I be afraid? Besides, this isn't my own wish. If it weren't for that guy, I would still be a comfortable young master in the Guangyun Empire.
Hey, why aren't you saying anything? I'm asking you. Is it you or the power behind you that wants to deal with the Lin family? Seeing that Long Ming didn't speak, Wang Yun spoke again impatiently. The sudden voice pulled Long Ming, who was in deep thought, back to reality. He frowned, and his displeasure was vividly displayed. He looked up at Long Ming with even more killing intent. He didn't care who the other party was. As long as they provoked him, as long as they were the Lin family's helpers, they would be the target of his destruction. After thinking it through, his mood improved a lot and he didn't care about those trivial thoughts from before. Do you know how to write the word death? Oh, from what you're saying, do you want to kill me now? Long Ming's decision shocked Wang Yun. In the face of such a situation, Long Ming's expression did not change even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of him. It could be seen that he was not an ordinary person. Moreover, the aura that Long Ming emitted was full of nobility. It could be seen that the other party's identity was not simple. But with such a status, why was he related to the Lin family? Besides Lin Rei, what else did the Lin family have? Of course, this thought only flashed through his mind. Now was not the time to think about such things. Although he said he was not afraid of Long Ming, the other party's strength was there for all to see. In response to Wang Yun's words, Long Ming smiled. That's right. I'll kill you. As long as it's related to the Lin family, everything will die. So, how do you want to die? As for the information you want to get out of me, I'm not afraid to tell you that I was indeed sent here by someone. Moreover, that person is very powerful. Not to mention you, even I am at most a cannon fodder in their hands. Of course, you won't be able to see this because you will die today. Moreover, you will also die with the people behind you. Hiss! Hearing Long Ming's words, Wang Yun sucked in a breath of cold air. He thought that the force behind the other party was very strong, but when he heard Long Ming's words, he hesitated. With Long Ming's strength, he was only cannon fodder in the eyes of the other party. How strong was that force? On the other side, Lu Changtian, who had entered the city, did not have the intention to meet up with Wang Yun. Instead, after entering the city, he chose the opposite direction from Wang Yun and walked away. Along the way, Lu Changtian saw only emptiness, emptiness, and emptiness. There was no sign of life here at all. On both sides of the street, there should have been a lively atmosphere, but at this moment, there was no sign of it at all. It was even very rare to see a figure on the street. Along the way, Lu Changtian was extremely shocked. He did not expect the Long family to control Yen City to such an extent. As for the Lin family, Lu Changtian was even more worried. At this moment, Lu Changtian could not help but pray in his heart. He prayed that nothing would happen to the Lin family. Otherwise, not only would the world suffer, but even she would not be spared. After all, he should have been able to arrive at Lien City a little later. It was because he could not bear it that he indulged the sword sect again and again, causing such a long delay. As he prayed, he could not help but walk faster and faster. He was already very close, so it did not take long for Lu Changtian to arrive in front of the Lin family's gate. At this moment, the Lin family's gate was tightly shut, and the gate was a little dilapidated. It did not have the grandeur of a big family like before. When Lu Changtian saw this scene, his heart skipped a beat. His hanging heart instantly sank.
Looking at the state of the Lin family, he could imagine what had happened to the Lin family during this period of time.
It's over.
If Master sees his family in such a state, then,
thinking of Lin Rei's violent temper, Lu Changtian could even imagine Lin Rei's reaction after seeing this scene. Only by killing could he offset the anger and dissatisfaction in Lin Rei's heart. Only by killing could he find the guilt he felt towards his family. Sigh, looks like there's really a big reshuffle this time. If this goes on, even if I leave, I will still think about the past in the future. Thinking about this, Lu Changtian moved his body and walked to the gate.
He reached out his hand and pressed the doorknob.
Dong dong dong. The door was knocked. I am Lu Changtian. I have been asked by someone to visit the Lin family. Would you please open the door for a chat? Time passed little by little. After waiting for a long time, Lu Changtian still didn't hear any sound coming from the Lin family.
It was as if his voice didn't even reach the ears of the gatekeeper.
Dong dong dong. I am Lu Changtian. I have been asked by someone to visit the Lin family. Would you please open the door for a chat? As if afraid that no one would be able to hear his voice, he raised his voice several times. Even Master Lin, who was in the depths of the Lin family, could hear his voice.
In the depths of the Lin family's meeting hall, an old man stood in front of Master Lin with a respectful expression.
Lu Changtian? Master Lin was deep in thought about the voice just now. He was familiar with the name Lu Changtian, but he just couldn't remember where he had heard it before. Lu Changtian. It seems like he is a strong martial artist, but I can't sense his aura.
At this moment, the old man in front of Master Lin spoke up.
Oh? You can't sense his aura? Master Lin was shocked. Others might not be able to sense Lu Changtian's cultivation base, but he knew very well.
If even the old man couldn't sense Lu Changtian's aura, then, tell me, should I invite him in or not?
Invite him in. I can't sense any dangerous aura from that person, so his words can be trusted.
Is that so?
Hearing the old man's suggestion, Master Lin was stunned and fell into deep thought. No one knew what he was thinking. Not long after, Master Lin, who had fallen into deep thought, came back to his senses.
He raised his head and said, "Go invite Lu Changtian in.
I want to see just which old friend could invite someone stronger than you."
Yes.
Receiving the order, he left. Lu Changtian waited in front of the door for a long time, but the person who opened the door still hadn't arrived.
His heart sank, and a bad premonition welled up in his heart.
F***CK. Could it be that the Lin family is in danger? He was very afraid. He was afraid that the Lin family and the people related to Lin Rei were in danger. If that happened, what awaited him would be a punishment worse than death. The more he thought about it, the colder Lu Changtian's heart became. He didn't want this to happen.
Jia!
The sound of the door opening entered Lu Changtian's ears. Suddenly, a sense of happiness crept into Lu Changtian's heart. In Lu Changtian's eyes, if the door could be opened, it meant that the Lin family was fine. Turning his head, he saw the door open. An old man entered Lu Changtian's line of sight. Looking at him, Lu Changtian narrowed his eyes. With his current strength, he could clearly see the old man's cultivation base. Peak late-stage martial king? Lu Changtian was very surprised by the old man in front of him. One had to know that there weren't many martial kings in the entire Yen country. They could be counted on one hand, and these martial kings were basically all controlled by the imperial family. My master invites you in for a chat. It was a simple sentence, and he did not say anything else. After he finished speaking, he turned around and left. Lu Changtian didn't care about the old man's behavior. After all, this was the Lin family. Of course, if it had been someone else, Lu Changtian would have slapped them. In the Lin family, he didn't dare to be impudent. He followed the old man without looking around. When he reached the meeting hall and saw Master Lin, Lu Changtian's hanging heart finally relaxed. It's good that you're fine. It's good that you're fine. Old Master Lin was stunned by Lin Yiqian's sudden words. That, young man, may I know who you are? Looking at Lu Changtian, Master Lin asked.
Me?
Looking at the old man, Lu Changtian was stunned and said directly, That, old master,
Junior Lu Chongtian is Lin Rei's disciple. This time, I came back on my master's orders to see if the Lin family has any difficulties. As he spoke, a murderous look flashed across his originally gentle face. This trip really surprised me. At the same time, I'm very glad to be back. If anything happened to the Lin family, I'm afraid the consequences would be unimaginable. Lin Rei. Lu Chongtian said a lot, but the old man only heard the two words Lin Rei. Yes, my master asked me to come back. Hearing the old man's way of addressing Lin Rei, he really did know his master's age this time. How is Rei doing now? Is he eating well? Is he living well? Is he being bullied? Where is he now? A series of questions, all of them concerned about Lin Rei. Lu Chongtian also had a headache. How was he supposed to answer? One must know that Lin Rei was currently in the Divine Valley. The Divine Valley was a forbidden area in the Divine Territory. If he knew, the old man naturally knew as well. Thinking of this, Lu Chongtian's heart was in a dilemma. Should he say it? Or should he not say it? What's wrong? Did something happen to Rei? Seeing that Lu Chongtian didn't respond, Master Lin became anxious. With a bang, his body shot up from the chair. In the next moment, he was in front of Lu Chongtian. He reached out and grabbed Lu Chongtian excitedly. If it was an ordinary person, they would have been bounced away by Lu Chongtian's elemental energy. Unfortunately, in front of Master Lin, he could only let Master Lin grab him indifferently. No, old master, you're overthinking it. Lu Chongtian hurriedly shook his head in response to the old man's reaction. With my master's current strength, there aren't many people in the entire continent who can hurt him. My master is currently cultivating in seclusion in a secluded place. This time, my master asked me to come back and see if the Lin family needs anything. However, when I returned, I discovered that the Lin family has been targeted. Moreover, Lian City is being controlled by someone called the Long family. Sigh. Hearing that his grandson was fine, Master Lin relaxed. However, when he heard Lu Chongtian's words, sadness welled up in his heart. That's right. The Lin family is now it can be said that they're on the verge of collapse. They could disappear into the river of time at any time. Lu Chongtian was stunned by the old man's reaction. He hurriedly said, "Don't worry, the first thing I did when I returned was to send people to destroy the Long family. I think it's done by now." What? You sent people to the Long family? The old man, who was originally sad, was shocked when he heard this news. Yes. What's wrong? You're muddle-headed. Looking at Lu Chongtian, the old man looked as if he expected better from Lu Chongtian. He didn't treat Lu Chongtian as an expert at all. Instead, he treated him as a junior. What's the cultivation level of the people you sent? Peak late-stage Marshal General. What? Marshal General? This time, the old man was so angry that he fainted. If peak late-stage Marshal General could solve this problem, then the Lin family wouldn't be in such a state. What's wrong? Seeing the old man like this, an ominous premonition welled up in his heart. What's wrong? Looking at Lu Chongtian, the old man opened his mouth. You've seen the cultivation of the person beside me. If a general's cultivation could solve this problem, do you think I would still allow them to commit crimes in Lian City? Looking at the old man beside the old man, Lu Chongtian was stunned. That's right, there was a martial king in front of him. If martial generals could solve this problem, then why would the Lin family be in such a state? You've figured it out? Knowing that Lu Chongtian was aware of the situation, the old man rolled his eyes and let him figure it out himself. The head of the Long family, Long Ming, is a perfected martial king expert. That's why I've been delaying making a move. Why don't you think about it? A person who can invite a martial king expert must be very powerful. The old man continued. At this moment, Lu Chongtian finally understood. If the head of the Long family was a perfected martial king, then wouldn't the person he sent be like a lamb in a tiger's den? Not good. Thinking of this, Lu Chongtian's expression changed abruptly. Ignoring the old man's gaze, the origin energy in his body reached its peak in an instant. A powerful aura flashed and his figure disappeared in front of the old man and the old man. After a while, the old man came back to his senses and asked the old man beside him, "Did you see how Lu Chongtian left?"
No, he's too powerful. With my current cultivation level, it's hard to say if I can even take one move from him. Chapter 1044. So powerful? Master Lin was shocked. As someone who knew how powerful the old man was, how could he not be shocked when he heard these words from his mouth? Even though he had always been in power, he could not help but be shocked to the point that he could not control himself. Yes, very powerful. Looking at the old man, Master Lin was stunned. In his heart, he was even more familiar with his grandson. According to his observation of Lu Chongtian, his grandson's cultivation was at least at the martial sage realm. However, how did his grandson cultivate? He could not figure it out. Master Lin could not understand how powerful Lin Rei was. Logically speaking, after lying in bed for 8 years, even if he did not die, he should be weak and powerless when he woke up. He might even need to recuperate for a few years to recover his vitality. However, his grandson did not panic when he woke up. Moreover, after he woke up, the child's peerless appearance obliterated the Huangfu old man. Now, he had left for a year. Although he had not returned, he had returned with a powerful disciple. Sigh, forget it. As long as Rei is still a descendant of the Lin family, he is still my grandson. Everything else is not important. After thinking it through, he no longer thought about those messy things. As for Lu Chongtian's comfort, after sensing that Lu Chongtian's cultivation was powerful, he was no longer worried. All right, since little Lu has gone to deal with it, go and inform the kitchen to prepare dinner. Let's welcome little Lu and the others tonight. Yes, I'll go now. After receiving the order, the old man did not say much. He nodded in response and then left the hall and walked towards the backyard. I hope this matter can be completely resolved this time. Otherwise, thinking of the powerful force behind the Long family, to be honest, he did not understand how he had offended them to the point that they would spare no effort. At the same time, he also understood that if this matter could not be resolved this time, what awaited him would be the destruction of the Lin family. Unless Lin Rei personally took action, the consequences would be unimaginable. Even the existence of the Lin family was unknown. On the other side, the Long family was in chaos. Just as the old man had said, Long Ming was a martial king realm expert. Wang Yun did not have the slightest ability to fight back against such an expert. At this moment, in the depths of the Long family's courtyard, Wang Yun and more than 20 people were lying on the ground. All of their faces were pale, and their auras were scattered. There were countless wounds on their bodies, and scarlet blood could not stop flowing. One by one, they looked at Long Ming in front of them with ashen faces. In their eyes, Long Ming was like an insurmountable mountain, and they were like ants that they could only look up to at the foot of the mountain. How is this possible? How can you be so strong? Looking at Long Ming, Wang Yun spat out a mouthful of blood, her face full of disbelief. Previously, he only felt that Long Ming's body carried a sense of oppression, but he didn't expect that after exchanging blows, he would understand that the gap between them and Long Ming was like a chasm that could never be crossed. Above the martial general was the martial king. He had seen martial kings before, but he had never fought with a martial king. He had never even heard of the name Long Ming in the Yen country. Am I strong? Long Ming didn't think much of it. Perhaps. At the martial general level, he was indeed very strong, but at his level, he would understand that martial general was just the beginning. There were many realms above it, and every realm was like a critical point. Even every small realm would reflect the huge gap between two martial cultivators. Looking at Wang Yun, the disdain in Long Ming's eyes was not concealed in the slightest. My level might seem very strong to you, but have you ever thought about it? There are many people who are more powerful than me. Even in this tiny little fire country, there are people who are more powerful than me. So, don't impose your own vision on others. You think that I'm stronger than you, but that's just because your vision is short. He wanted to refute, but was Long Ming wrong? No, Long Ming wasn't wrong. He hadn't seen a stronger existence. His vision was indeed very short, but he knew that Lu Chongtian was stronger than him. As for how strong he was, he didn't know. All right, since it's already like this, let's go. As for the Lin family. As he spoke, a murderous intent flashed. The Lin family will accompany you soon, but now is not the time. So, walk slowly on the Yellow Springs Road, or you won't be able to see them. After saying that, without waiting for Wang Yun and the others to refute,
He stepped in front of Wang Yun and stretched out his hand. The origin energy in his body surged.
Go in peace.
On the ground, Wang Yun, who felt the aura of death, closed his eyes and smiled bitterly.
Just like that?
In the face of death, he was unwilling and afraid. However, when he became a martial cultivator, death had become a matter of the next day. As a martial cultivator, he had to be prepared to die at any time when he stepped on this path.
That's good too. In this way, perhaps, you're touched by my people. I really didn't know that a mere martial king like you would be so arrogant.
Just as Wang Yun was facing death, a voice that rekindled Wang Yun's hope entered everyone's ears.
Lu Changtian?
That's right, it was Lu Changtian, who had suddenly left the Lin family. Along the way, he had sensed Wang Yun's aura and could not be negligent in the slightest. Facing a martial king, he understood the disadvantage of a general.
Who is it?
Long Ming, who was about to make a move, stopped his palm less than an arm's length away from Wang Yun. He started to look around, as if he wanted to listen to the voice to find the person who spoke. However, unfortunately, after looking around, Long Ming was disappointed because he did not feel anyone approaching. He did not even feel the shadow of a stranger. However, the more it was like this, the more uneasy Long Ming felt.
There were usually two kinds of situations like this.
The first was that the other party's cultivation was so strong that even he could not sense it. The second was that the other party had a very good concealment technique that could conceal one's aura. As for these two, Long Ming subconsciously imposed his thoughts on the second case because he did not believe that he would encounter the first case in this place. Hee. A chuckle came from Wang Yun, who was waiting for death. Hearing this chuckle, Long Ming frowned and a bad premonition surged in his heart. He still remembered Wang Yun's expression just now.
Just now, he was prepared to die.
But now, when he heard the voice that suddenly appeared, his originally lifeless expression disappeared.
This was too strange.
Long Ming could not help but feel nervous.
Now, what was the situation? What was going on? Are you looking for me?
The same voice as before appeared, but the difference was that Lu Changtian, who came from the voice, appeared in front of Long Ming. He walked slowly, and a look of contempt appeared in Long Ming's line of sight.
Who are you?
It was not an illusion, but he felt a sense of oppression from Lu Changtian. However, what made him feel strange was that there was no sign of origin energy flowing from his body. Long Ming could not help but withdraw his hand that was about to kill Wang Yun.
He took a step back and became vigilant.
In his opinion, it was obviously very irrational to make a move now without figuring out who the other party was and what his cultivation level was. Lu Changtian obviously had no intention of answering Long Ming's question. He looked at Wang Yun on the ground and looked at the people Wang Yun brought. At this moment, they were in a sorry state. He could not help but feel annoyed. In his opinion, these were all his people. Now that these people had been put down, it was obvious that this had hurt his reputation. This was something that Lu Changtian would not allow. He looked away from Wang Yun and the others and looked at Long Ming. He said coldly, "You've done well. Now, there's nothing for you to do here. Take them back to the Lin family." Obviously, these words were directed at Wang Yun. Wang Yun did not refuse. As someone who had experienced it personally, he understood the seriousness of his injuries. At most, he would be a burden to Lu Changtian if he stayed here. In that case, he might as well leave.
Did you ask me?
Long Ming's face darkened when he saw the actions of Wang Yun and the others. Although he felt the pressure from Lu Changtian, he felt that his dignity was being trampled on and he was being ignored. "I'm afraid it's not appropriate for you to do this in my territory," Long Ming said as he looked at Lu Changtian.
"Oh, not good?"
Lu Changtian, who had been staring at Long Ming, said, "You hit my subordinates.
Don't you think it's inappropriate?"
Looking at Lu Changtian, Long Ming choked on his words. Indeed, his question just now was a little stupid. However, he could not tolerate Lu Changtian's disregard. From the beginning to the end, Lu Changtian's expression did not show the slightest hint of joy, anger, sorrow, or joy. He understood that. So what if Long Ming was angry? If it was a year ago, he would have been afraid. Perhaps he would have turned around and fled without hesitation after knowing that the other party was a martial king expert. But now, tell me. Lu Changtian did not intend to kill Long Ming yet. After all, He had not gotten the answer he wanted from Long Ming.
Why are you targeting the Lin family? Who is the force behind you?
How powerful is the force behind you? Looking at Long Ming, Lu Changtian opened his mouth and told him everything he wanted to know in one breath.
Don't be full of hope.
You don't have that chance in front of me.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. I have many tricks up my sleeve. If you don't tell me, I can only take action by force.
Seriously, if Long Ming didn't want to talk, Lin Fan wouldn't mind making him talk. After all, he was already at the Lin family. Although he wanted to resolve the situation here as soon as possible, since Long Ming didn't want to talk, Lin Fan didn't mind staying here a little longer. After all, the thing he didn't lack the most was time.
You are also a helper of the Lin family?
Long Ming was very surprised by Lu Changtian's identity. It was not because of anything else, but because the report he received said that the Lin family did not have these experts who appeared today. But now, there was an error in the report given to him. This made him very unhappy. However, what he did not expect was that not only was the information given to him wrong, but his life now did not belong to him.
It was just that he did not know it yet. Answer my question. Who sent you?
Long Ming did not answer.
Instead, he spoke again.
At this moment, Wang Yun and the others had already left. In the entire Long residence, other than Lu Changtian, there was only Long Ming and his subordinates.
Humph, do you think I will tell you?
A cold smile appeared on his face. The Yuan energy in his body surged. He held his sword in his hand and prepared for battle.
Are you sure?
Lu Changtian also admired Long Ming's courage. He didn't expect the other party to be so tactless.
Cut the crap.
Defeat me if you can. Of course, even if you defeat me, I will not tell you.
Just give up.
Oh. Lu Changtian was very dissatisfied with Long Ming's answer. He narrowed his eyes and a trace of killing intent flashed in his eyes. Fortunately, Wang Yun was not here. If she was, she would understand that Lu Changtian was really angry when she saw Lu Changtian's expression. This was something that could kill someone.
Dang!
Long Ming moved. It was not Lu Changtian but Long Ming. As the saying goes, the one who strikes first gains the advantage. Long Ming obviously wanted to take the initiative.
I have to say, you are very courageous.
Unfortunately, looking at Long Ming who was rushing towards him, Lu Changtian shook his head helplessly. He did not open his eyes to look at Long Ming. Since that is the case, then, prepare to die. Since Long Ming was so stubborn, Lu Changtian didn't mind using some extreme methods and doing extreme things. Swoosh! Just as Long Ming's figure was about to arrive in front of Lu Changtian's figure suddenly disappeared. It was the kind of disappearance that happened without any warning. What? At this moment, Long Ming was shocked and his body stopped abruptly. It was not that he wanted to but that he could not. He could not find Lu Changtian's figure. His attack was completely useless.
How?
He stopped and looked around, trying to find Lu Changtian's figure. However, just as he turned around, a chill suddenly flashed behind him.
Really? Do you have to make me do it? Can't you speak up yourself?
Behind Long Ming, Lu Changtian's figure suddenly appeared inside.
What?
Long Ming was shocked and wanted to turn around. However, the moment he turned around, he saw the origin energy that he could not resist suddenly appear and imprint on his face without any mercy. Pa! A clear and resounding sound rang out. Long Ming's figure turned into a perfect parabola as he flew backward. In midair, scarlet blood spurted out from Long Ming's mouth. A very obvious palm print appeared on Long Ming's face. Especially the face that was slapped. It was swollen. Bang! Long Ming's figure landed more than 10 meters away. If it were not for the wall blocking him, he would not have stopped. Looking at Long Ming who was lying on the ground in the distance, Lu Changtian's voice rang out again. How is it?
Now, do you want to talk?
Pfft. Long Ming spat out a mouthful of blood. His heart was filled with shock. With frightened eyes, he endured the pain and raised his head to look at Lu Changtian. At this moment, Long Ming no longer had the arrogance from before. In Long Ming's eyes, Lu Changtian was a monster. Seeing that Lu Changtian was about the same age as him, he completely understood that the other party was very strong. He was injured to the point where he could not fight back. At this moment, when he thought of Wang Yun's smile, He finally understood why the other party was so fearless. It turned out that there was such a powerful person behind him. No wonder.
Chapter 1045. Now, are you going to tell me? Lu Changtian asked again. Lu Changtian didn't know that Lu Changtian didn't know who the power behind Long Ming was. Otherwise, Long Ming would have become a cold corpse by now.
Heh! Long Ming laughed as he looked at Lu Changtian. However, his laughter was filled with bitterness. However, this bitter laugh was a different sight in Lu Changtian's eyes because there was still hope in Long Ming's eyes.
This guy.
Could it be that the power behind him is able to go against a martial emperor?
Or
could it be that the power behind him is not weaker than a martial emperor?
This possibility was very likely. This kind of power usually wouldn't appear in duchies.
Above duchies was the imperial court because only the imperial court would have martial emperors or even experts like ancestors. As for martial king-level cultivators like Long Ming, they were not as numerous as the hairs on an ox in the dynasty, but every city would have a martial king expert overseeing it. However, so what if it was the imperial court? If the power behind Long Ming was really the imperial court, then Lu Changtian wouldn't mind going to the imperial court behind Long Ming. Of course, if it was really the imperial court, then he wouldn't mind being the devil in the eyes of the world, the Azura in hell, the killing machine that everyone feared. On the Tianming continent, it was very normal for the imperial court and duchies to be replaced. Of course, it wasn't always like this, and the imperial court didn't change at any time. After all, every imperial court had its own destiny, and when its destiny dissipated, it would naturally be destroyed. Looking at Long Ming, Lu Changtian's killing intent increased. Looking at Long Ming, his desire to kill grew even stronger. Do you really think that the power behind you can protect you? Humph. A cold snort came out of Long Ming's mouth. Obviously, he didn't take Lu Changtian's words seriously. After all, he had seen how powerful that power was, so he naturally knew how powerful it was. This was what Long Ming had mentioned before. His vision was only the vision of his current cultivation. In Lu Changtian's eyes, the power behind Long Ming was just an ant. He knew that it had been a long time since a martial god had appeared on the Tianming continent. Of course, this didn't mean that there wasn't a martial god in the Tianming continent. It was just that experts of this level didn't come out and were in seclusion. There were martial saints on the Tianming continent as well. There were 14 recorded in the heavenly scripture. 5 of them were ancestors of the Tianming continent. They were founders of the Tianming continent. Cultivators of this level rarely appeared in the world. Every one of them was the living signboard of the Holy Lands, and every saint had countless experts under them. Lu Changtian did not believe that the martial cultivator behind Long Ming was a martial sage or even a martial god. This kind of martial cultivator would not care about worldly affairs. As for those below the martial saint realm, no matter who it was, Lu Changtian wasn't afraid of them. So what if a martial saint realm cultivator came? He believed that even if a martial saint realm cultivator came, with Lin Rei's strength, he would definitely be able to deal with or even kill him. Sure. Lu Changtian's patience was completely worn out by Long Ming's determination. Time was limited. If he really couldn't do it, then inhuman methods were often the most effective at this time. Since you're so determined, then, don't blame me for being rude. So what if the power behind you is powerful? Do you think he can appear in front of me now and save you? As he spoke, a bloodthirsty smile appeared on Lu Changtian's face. He took a step forward and in an instant, he was in front of Long Ming. You want to? What do you want to do? Feeling Lu Changtian's strong killing intent, he was afraid. Yes, Long Ming was afraid. Just like Lu Changtian said, no matter how powerful the power behind him was, now that those people were not around, even if Lu Changtian killed him now, those people on the other side would not know immediately. And by the time those people on the other side found out, the Lin family would have already run away. What do you want to do? He looked at Long Ming with a smile. He understood Long Ming's current mood. Long Ming was just like him before he became Lin Rei's disciple. It was as if the strong person standing in front of him was an insurmountable mountain. In his life, he could only look up, not climb, not to mention climb to the top of the mountain. Since you don't want to tell me, then I can only use my own method. After all, my time is very precious. You, don't come over. In the face of death, who would be afraid? Even the strong martial god was no exception. Even the martial god could not escape the fate of death. Birth, old age, sickness, and death were human nature. Even with the cultivation of a sage like Lin Rei, there would be a day when his lifespan would come to an end. It was just that his cultivation was strong, and his lifespan would also become longer along with his cultivation. That was all. Hey, don't worry, I will be very gentle. After saying that, Lu Chongtian's demonic claw came in front of Long Ming, who could not resist at all. Just when Long Ming thought that he would be finished off, the demonic claw suddenly turned around and grabbed his shoulder. A cold smile flashed across Long Ming's face. Crack! Lu Chongtian exerted a little force, and the sound of bones breaking resounded through the entire space. In the distance, seeing his master in such a sorry state, he wanted to lead the crowd to rescue him. However, just when he was about to move and had already taken a step forward, a cold gaze was cast on him. If you move again, I will make you die even more miserably than Long Ming. Of course you can choose not to believe me, but I, Lu Chongtian, am a man of my words. I will definitely do what I say. As soon as he said that, the young man who was about to take a step forward trembled. Thinking of how powerful the other party was, even his master could not withstand one move from him. He subconsciously retracted his foot. You are teachable. Seeing that the crowd did not understand, Lu Chongtian flashed a satisfied smile and then turned his attention back to Long Ming. Now there are no more flies. Crack. As he said that, he exerted more force on the broken bone. This time, the broken bone was completely shattered. Yes, it was shattered, and it was the kind that was crushed. For this kind of crushed bone, Lu Chongtian could guarantee that even a genius doctor would not be able to repair it. This was the internal force that Lin Rei had taught him before. Although the effect was only 10 or 20% of the initial stage, it was still a method for cultivators. If it was a cultivator like Lin Rei, there might be a chance to cure Long Ming. Unfortunately, in the entire Destiny realm, except for Lin Rei and Lu Chongtian, only Tendo had this kind of power. But, would Tendo come out to help someone who was regarded as an ant in his eyes? Obviously, this was impossible. Ah, the sound of bones breaking was accompanied by a dragon's roar and a bestial howl of pain. Shoo, don't scream, or I will break your arm like this. Oh, by the way, except for my master, only I can cure this kind of fracture. The smile on Lu Chongtian's face did not fade at all. In Long Ming's eyes, this smile was the grim smile of the Grim Reaper. No, it was a smile that was more terrifying than the Grim Reaper. This feeling was hard to describe. It had to be said that this rough method was very useful. The moment Lu Zhongtian said that, Long Ming, who was originally crying out in pain, immediately shut up. However, because of the pain, Long Ming's expression was fierce and his face was as pale as paper. Bean-sized beads of cold sweat rolled down his cheeks and finally fell to the ground. Well, good boy. As soon as these words came out, the crowd in the distance trembled violently. The way they looked at Lu Chongtian changed again. Devil, this person is a devil. This kind of thought appeared in everyone's mind at the same time. This was the thought that everyone wanted to express but couldn't. As for these people, Lu Chongtian had no intention of paying attention to them. He stared at Long Ming and asked the same question again. Tell me, where are you from? Who is the power behind you? Why are you targeting the Lin family? What benefits do you get from doing this? As far as I know, the Lin family has never offended you. In fact, the Lin family has never offended the Imperial Dynasty or even the Imperial Dynasty. How did they offend you to make you do this? Yes, this was not only a question that the Lin family wanted to know, but also a question that he was very curious about. As a native family, how did they offend such a powerful existence? He couldn't figure it out. Long Ming was speechless. Wasn't there a saying that silence is golden? But when you leave, silence will kill you. Especially in this situation, it will make you feel worse than death. You want to die? Sorry, maybe you're thinking too much. Lu Chongtian frowned at Long Ming's silence. He couldn't figure out what kind of power could make this ant keep his mouth shut in the face of death. But did he think that Lu Chongtian couldn't do anything about it? Good. You've got guts, Lu Chongtian said to Long Ming's silence to express his anger. Since that's the case, let's slowly enjoy the feast. Lu Chongtian decided that this time, he would make Long Ming doubt his life. As for the answer? Sorry, even if you tell me the answer now,
You can't escape the fact that you're being tortured. Not for anything else, but because Lu Changtian was really angry at this moment. Yes, angry. This was the angriest he had ever been. It was also the first time he lost his temper because of Long Ming's courage. Aren't you cheap? Fine, I'll let you know that you have to pay a price for being cheap, and this price is something you can't afford. Gotcha. Just like before, his right hand grabbed Long Ming's intact shoulder and squeezed hard. The sound of bones breaking could be heard. Ah! Long Ming screamed as if he was weeping and complaining. The same feeling had already occupied all of his consciousness and perception. No. Don't, Long Ming mumbled incoherently, but would Lu Changtian listen to him at this moment? It was obviously impossible because Lu Changtian's actions were still continuing, increasing his strength bit by bit. Ah! An inhuman roar came out of Long Ming's mouth. At this moment, he was really regretting it. If he knew this was the case, why did he accept such a mission in the first place? Wasn't this seeking his own death and being cheap? At the same time, Long Ming sighed at the misinformation and became even more ruthless. If it weren't for the spy's wrong information, he wouldn't be in this state now. Little by little, his hands moved down and crushed the intact bones in his arm bit by bit. There was no intact part. At this moment, Long Ming's arms became bloody and there was no intact part. Blood kept dripping down his arms. In the distance, the subordinate who had been following Long Ming saw his master in this state and an impulse flashed in his heart. As a subordinate of the Long family, the patriarch of the Long family had kept a close eye on him when he came to the Fire Country, telling him that he must protect Long Ming. But now, Long Ming's life was in danger and he was powerless to do anything about it. What should I do? What should I do? Immediately, if this situation continued, it wouldn't be long before his master was tortured to death by the devil in front of him. Yes. What he wants to know is only the power behind master. Yes. Yes. Thinking of this, the man seemed to have caught a life-saving straw. The despair in his eyes disappeared and was replaced by hope. I'll talk. The sudden voice made Lu Changtian's hands freeze and he didn't continue. With a plop, Lu Changtian let go and Long Ming fell to the ground, making a sound. Lu Changtian didn't care and turned to look at the person behind him. This person was none other than the man who wanted to make a move earlier. Looking at him, an interesting smile flashed and he said, "You said, you know the question I want to ask?" "No, don't." On the ground, Long Ming, who was like a roaring existence, saw himself in this state. He ignored the pain in his body and roared to stop him. Looking at his master, the man was stunned and then ignored him. In his opinion, the only chance to save Long Ming now was to tell him the power behind him. Unfortunately, he just happened to know the power behind him. "I know the question you want to know, but you have to promise to let my master go." The man's eyes were filled with determination. Lu Changtian's smile deepened at the man's request. "Do you think you can negotiate with me? Is this the answer you know?" Yes, in this situation, what bargaining chips did he have to negotiate with the other party? However, for Long Ming, he was going to go all out. I don't care. Since you want to know the power, you have to promise to let my master go. Otherwise, there's no need to talk. Lu Changtian was speechless at the man's determination. He had seen loyal subordinates, but he had never seen such a persistent and loyal subordinate. However, for the answer, Lu Changtian nodded. "Tell me first and see if it's worth it for me to let go." Ignoring the man, he thought to himself, "Since you're not willing to tell me now, then tell me where you're from." Looking at Lu Changtian, the man frowned but didn't relax. As if he had thought it through, he said, "My master is from the Guangyun Empire." Chapter 1046. Guangyun Empire? Even though he was mentally prepared, he didn't expect it to be an empire. He thought it would at most be a dynasty. After all, the Lin family wouldn't be close to an empire. But now, there was a problem. Guangyun Empire. There must be a martial saint in the empire. Even the martial god would have one. If that was the case, then things would be troublesome. After all, with his current cultivation, he wouldn't be afraid of a martial saint. He didn't have the ability to fight a martial saint. Yes, Guangyun Empire. Hearing Lu Changtian talk to himself, the man relaxed and continued. Everyone knows that countries are divided into imperial dynasties, kingdoms, and duchies. Empires are already the top existences in the Destiny realm. Even a martial saint wouldn't dare to mess with an imperial dynasty. Our young master is the third son of the Long family in the imperial dynasty. He is very noble, so please don't kill. He was begging for mercy, but also threatening. He thought that if he mentioned the Long family in the imperial dynasty, Lu Changtian would be more or less afraid. After all, the imperial dynasty was the top existence in the Destiny realm. Unfortunately, the man was wrong. He didn't care if the imperial dynasty was from the imperial dynasty or not. He just wanted to know who was the mastermind behind all this. Why was the Lin family hesitating? Why would a small family in a small duchy be targeted by those big shots? And why would they send their most noble young master here? This series of questions gave Lu Changtian a headache. He thought he had taken on an idle job, but now it seemed that wasn't the case. The man kept looking at Lin Rei's expression, as if he wanted to see Lu Changtian's answer from his expression. However, to the man's disappointment, Lu Changtian's expression was as calm as water, without any ripples. He couldn't see Lu Changtian's emotions at all. You. He was discouraged. Lu Changtian's expression made him lose confidence. Continue, Lu Changtian said. This wasn't the answer he wanted. The man he wanted hadn't said it yet. Oh, the man seemed to know a little about Lu Changtian's temper, but he didn't dare to be careless. He nodded and continued. 2 years ago, a mysterious person came to the Long family. He used his powerful cultivation to intimidate the Long family. He wanted my master to leave the imperial dynasty and come to this barren land to find the Lin family. Slowly, he killed everyone in the Lin family. This way, not only will we be able to destroy the hearts of the Lin family members, but we will also be able to complete the mission those people gave us. Bang! A thunderous sound came from under Lu Changtian's feet. The slab made from Lu Changtian's boulder was completely shattered. Looking at the shattered stone slab, the man's heart skipped a beat. For some reason he felt like dying. And after that, Lu Changtian's voice sounded again. He knew that he didn't control his emotions well. It was just that the man's words were too shocking, so he couldn't control himself for a moment. As the third young master of the Long family, he naturally didn't want to be spoiled. However, the other party was too powerful. In the end, he used the lives of everyone in the Long family as a hostage. Because of that, my young master had no choice but to come here. However, how could my young master be so easily bullied? Furthermore, the Long family is not so easily bullied. Therefore, my master sent experts to follow the person who left. In the end, they followed him all the way to the Cloud Wind Sect. Cloud Wind Sect. Another powerful force had appeared. Lu Changtian didn't know about this force, but he could tell that the other party and the Cloud Wind Sect were very powerful. The Cloud Wind Sect is a powerful force in the Guangyun Empire. It is said that there is a martial god overseeing it. As for whether it is true or not, I don't know. However, what is certain is that there are 4 martial saints in the Cloud Wind Sect. Each one of them is very powerful. In the Guangyun Empire they are ranked among the top. Sigh. Hearing the man's words, Lu Changtian could only let out a long sigh to ease his current mood. It was fine if there was a martial god, but there were also 4 martial saints. This was a bit too much for him. Originally, he wanted to cause trouble. However, Lu Changtian might have to change his mind now. After all, that level of existence was not something he could come into contact with. Of course, just because he couldn't, it didn't mean that his master, Lin Rei, couldn't. In his impression, Lin Rei was a special existence. Seeing that Lu Changtian was interested, the man smiled and continued. The Cloud Wind Sect's Xueqi thought that it was a martial saint-level expert. He was the one who asked my young master to come, so, with a plop, the man directly knelt on the ground. He had a pleading expression on his face. I beg you not to kill my young master. From the beginning to the end, the man didn't plead for him even once. Every time he opened his mouth, he would say something about Long Ming running away. This made Lu Changtian deeply moved. With such subordinates, what more could he ask for? A smile flashed across his face. He had achieved his goal of coming here this time. Guangyun Empire, Cloud Wind Sect's Xueqi. Lu Changtian firmly remembered this name in his heart because he was going to tell Lin Rei about it when he returned. As for Long Ming and the people in front of him,
Although he had the intention to kill them, Lu Chongtian's heart softened when he saw the person in front of him acting like this.
I beg you, bam bam. The sound of heads hitting the ground rang out. This caused Lu Chongtian's heart to soften even more. I beg you, plop. The remaining people all knelt on the ground and began to beg Lu Chongtian for mercy. The scene was spectacular. One had to know that the Long family was the overlord of the Lian city before. Now they had become like this. In just a day's time, the sky and earth had turned upside down. Sigh. Letting out a long sigh, he waved his hand and said, I can spare Long Ming, but you have to come with me to see someone. If that person says that he won't kill you, then you are truly safe. This is my limit. After all, you have offended the Lin family too deeply. But, if you can atone for your crimes, then maybe that person will be merciful. What do you think? Really?
Long Ming, who was on the ground, had no other thoughts other than shock. After all, he thought that he was dead for sure. But now, the situation was reversed. Lu Chongtian nodded and continued. What I said may not be accurate. Don't take this as a promise because the final power of life and death is in the hands of that person. So, pray that that person will be in a better mood because of your face. Otherwise, after saying that, he shook his head and looked like he was not sure. However, this already allowed Long Ming and the others to breathe a sigh of relief. After all, it was a good thing that they did not have to die. All right, since the matter is settled, then do as you see fit. I will be staying with the Lin family for a few days. Don't even think about running away. Your Long family is in the Guangyun Empire. If you go missing here, then your Long family will pay with their lives because of your disappearance. Remember, I have the strength. Even if Feng Qiuzi is here, it won't matter. Remember. Hiss. Lu Chongtian's words had already proven his power. He was a martial honorable. Long Ming never thought that he would actually attack a martial honorable in front of him. Wasn't this like an egg hitting a rock? What a pain in the ass. Swish. A sound pierced through the air. While everyone was still in a daze, Lu Chongtian's figure disappeared from the Long family's residence. Thousands of miles away in the Divine Valley, Lin Rei was bored to death as he stood at the peak of a mountain as usual. The wind blew and he was in a daze. No one knew what he was thinking. How are you doing now? He was homesick. Although this was the place where he was born in this lifetime, he still had a sense of belonging. He couldn't let Lin Rei, who still had his memories, feel warm even though he had family here. At that moment, he recalled some of the memories he had with Ying and the others. A smile flashed across Lin Rei's face. Xueqi Tian was dumbfounded. This was the first time he'd seen Lin Rei like this. When Lu Ying saw that Lin Rei and Ying hadn't appeared at the entrance of the village, he muttered to himself, why aren't they back yet? Logically speaking, they should have been back a long time ago. However, in the next moment, two people appeared. It was Lin Rei and Ying, whom Lu Ying had been waiting for. Similarly, Lin Rei was stunned when he saw Lu Ying, who was waiting at the entrance. His eyes were filled with shock and longing, but Lin Rei quickly walked forward step by step. When Lu Ying's silhouette finally appeared in front of Lin Rei's eyes, the shock and longing from before completely disappeared. His heart clenched and he felt a heart-wrenching pain. Tears instantly flowed out and his footsteps quickened. When he reached Lu Ying's side, he didn't say anything and just brushed past him. At the same time, when Lu Ying saw Lin Rei's strange behavior and was about to say something, he realized that Lin Rei had already disappeared. Seeing this, Lu Ying's heart secretly panicked, but he quickly reacted. Let's go, dinner's ready. At that moment, Lu Ying regained his usual coldness and told Lin Rei that he was close to Lin Yun's house. Of course, he didn't know about this because he didn't know that when Jean Ling was alive, she had been waiting for her father until she died. Lin Yun didn't think much of it and walked into the room. When he saw the food on the table, his appetite was whetted and he immediately sat down and started eating. As for Lin Rei, he brushed past Lu Ying and said, "You're in the room." Then, he took out a jar of wine and started pouring it into his mouth. Cough, cough. Perhaps he drank too quickly. He choked and started coughing violently. Suddenly, his chest felt stuffy and blood rushed up. Puffed. Suddenly, he spat out a mouthful of blood and his originally gloomy face became much rosier. Haha, Ling Er, don't you think I'm funny? I know you're already dead, but after seeing that silhouette today, I wish so much that the person waiting for me was you. He couldn't hold it in anymore and burst into tears. His tears were like a waterfall as they rushed down, completely drenching his clothes. However, the wine didn't stop pouring into his mouth. In fact, each mouthful was bigger than the last, as if he couldn't wait to eat the entire jar. At this moment, a pair of sorrowful eyes were hiding in the dark and watching this scene. The moment he heard Lin Rei's words, he couldn't stop his tears from flowing. So that's how it is, so that's how it is. As he spoke, the person in the dock retreated, teleporting away. The only person left in the room was Linley, who was sobbing by himself. If I could do it all over again, I'd rather be that young man who lost his memories. Even if life is hard, but at least I'd still be by your side to protect you and not be separated by life and death like now. Pa! The hand holding the jar of wine fell to the side and the jaw was instantly smashed into pieces. As for the wine inside, Lin Rei drank all of it. Perhaps it was because the sound in the room was too loud that Lin Yun, who was eating, put down his chopsticks and stood up with a puzzled expression. He went to Lin Rei's room and knocked on the door. Knock, 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 father, are you all right? There was a moment of silence. After a while, no sound came out. Lin Yun didn't have a chance because he wasn't worried about Lin Rei because he knew his father's cultivation level. Then, Lin Yun turned around and went back to the dining table and started eating in big bites. In the room, Lin Rei fell asleep from exhaustion, perhaps because he missed him too much and drank too much wine. At this moment, Lu Ying was alone in the spirit fields behind Tianfu village. He was looking at the dozen or so mu of spirit fields in front of him, but he wasn't in the mood to admire them. Instead, he was staring blankly in front of him with a sad expression.
What's wrong with me? Could it be that I've really fallen for young master? A voice came out of his mouth, but Lu Ying immediately denied it. No, it's impossible for me to fall for young master. I'm a servant and he's the master. Yes, I shouldn't have such thoughts. However, after saying this, tears couldn't help but flow out of his eyes and he looked even sadder than before. But why am I so sad? If Lin Rei was here, he'd definitely be shocked. Lu Ying's actions at this moment clearly showed that there was someone he liked. Time passed quietly and the three of them spent the night separately. Lu Ying also spent the night asking himself the same question, but he couldn't find an answer. As for Lin Yun, after dinner, he returned to his room to digest what Lin Rei taught him during the day. As for Lin Li, he had a very good night as well. He spent the entire night in the dreamland that he had created himself. Life was still like this. Very quickly, they had lived in Tianfu village for a year. Ever since that day, Lu Ying felt that his relationship with Lin Rei had become very strange. It was the same for Lin Rei. After that, Lu Ying also waited at the door for Lin Rei and Lin Yun to come back. This time, Lin Rei was already used to Lu Ying waiting. If one day he suddenly stopped waiting, Lin Rei probably wouldn't be used to it. At the same time, during this year, other than the outburst of hostility when he taught the 10,000 sword technique, there were no other movements. Lin Rei also didn't use any of his cultivation. Aside from taking all kinds of spiritual medicine every day, he spent every day very comfortably. They're back. At this moment, the sky was already dark and the moon was high up in the sky. The silver light seemed to have put on a layer of clothing for the earth, making the scenery especially mesmerizing. At the entrance of the Lin family's house in Tianfu village, Lu Ying stood there as usual, waiting for Lin Rei and Lin Yun to come back. Let's go. Let's go in and eat. Memories were always fascinating. Unfortunately, he only cared about raising his cultivation all these years and neglected Lu Ying's feelings. This was his negligence. Chapter 1047. Looking at the fiery red and scorching sunlight on the horizon, his eyes were full of longing. He didn't understand before because he didn't dare to relax because of the existence of the system and the god of death behind him. But it was different now. Without the system, he didn't have to worry about time. This made his body instinctively feel relaxed, and he felt the burden on his shoulders lighten a little. It seems that I'm still not suitable for this kind of relaxed life. Feeling the drop in his cultivation, Lin Rei smiled bitterly. Although his body was relaxed, his cultivation had dropped. Moreover, he had come to this era that was almost at the end of the cultivation era. If he wanted to go back, with the spiritual energy of this realm, 10 years? 100 years? Or 1,000 years? Lin Rei wasn't sure, and he couldn't give an accurate time. After all, with the spiritual energy of this realm, coupled with the cultivation of martial cultivators in this realm, it wouldn't be long before the spiritual energy of this world completely disappeared at this speed. At that time, what awaited him would be an era without spiritual energy, which would make it even more difficult for him to cultivate. If he wanted to return to the God realm through cultivation, there would only be 2 words waiting for him. Dream on. The more he thought about it, the more flustered he felt. He really couldn't bear this kind of life. Without spiritual energy, it was equivalent to sitting and waiting for death. I don't know how Tendo is doing after finding the place with spiritual energy. It's been so long, and he hasn't sent any news. Thinking of Tendo, Lin Rei frowned. It had been so long, but there was still no news from Tendo. Lin Rei couldn't help but feel that he had been cheated. On the other side, Xueling Tian didn't know what Lin Rei was thinking at this moment. At this moment, he only had one thought, and that was to break through his cultivation and strengthen himself in the future. This was his only thought, and if he wanted to realize this, he was afraid that he would need Lin Rei's help. I don't know what's wrong with this guy. He's in a daze every day. I really don't know what's going on in his head. It's time to leave. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Number 4's words made Blood Spirit Sky at the side stunned. F***CK. What the F***CK is going on? Didn't you say that you were going to cultivate here and then enter that place to investigate? Why the F***CK are we leaving? He didn't understand Lin Rei's thoughts, but he didn't dare to refute. Thinking about the protection of the 9 azure dragons around Lin Rei, he couldn't help but shiver. Then, he lowered his head and remained silent. Aren't you going to ask me where we're going? Lin Rei said, looking at Blood Spirit Sky. Today, Blood Spirit Sky was a bit strange. Usually, it was the most talkative, but now it was silent. Where to? Lin Rei. In the face of the Blood Spirit Heaven's question, which did not seem out of place, he could not help but roll his eyes and surrender. I'm going to take a walk in the outside world. During this period of cultivation, I've thought through some things in my heart. Therefore, it's not a good idea to keep cultivating here. After all, the most important thing in cultivation is to train one's state of mind. Cultivating behind closed doors is a big taboo in cultivation. Blood Spirit Sky. Looking at Lin Rei, Blood Spirit Sky didn't know what to say. But there was nothing he could do. He had already followed Lin Rei, so if Lin Rei left, he would have to leave as well. Looking at the place where he had lived since childhood, he couldn't help but feel a bit reluctant. Why are you reluctant? Seeing that Blood Spirit Sky was silent again, he looked around the mountain range with a look of reluctance that went without saying. There's nothing to be reluctant about, Blood Spirit Sky said. I'm just feeling a bit emotional. After all, I've lived here for so many years, so it's inevitable that I'll feel a bit strange leaving. TSK. Not bad. Lin Rei looked at Blood Spirit Sky in surprise. One must know that Blood Spirit Sky was a cold-blooded creature that had never been cold to anything. But now, he was feeling this way. Scram. He understood what Lin Li meant. After saying the word F***CK off, he immediately charged off into the distance. As a smart person who understood Lin Rei, Blood Spirit Sky was very smart. As soon as he finished cursing, he quickly fled. Otherwise, he would be tortured by the azure dragons. Swish. A sound pierced through the air. When Lin Rei turned around, Blood Spirit Sky was already 100 meters away. You're running pretty fast. But do you think this will work? He couldn't help but feel a little amused by Blood Spirit Sky's actions. Boom. The Chaos Dragon's spear appeared. Lin Rei brandished it twice and stabbed it into the ground. Looking at this old friend who had fought side by side with him, he smiled. Go, but don't be too ruthless. After all, I have to ride him if I want to leave this place. Understand? Those who didn't understand would think that Lin Rei was crazy when he talked to himself. But Blood Spirit Sky knew that Lin Rei was giving orders to the azure dragons. Roar. Indeed, as soon as Lin Li finished speaking, a series of azure dragon roars echoed throughout the entire Divine Valley. The sound was so loud that it was deafening, and it reverberated through the heavens. Swish,
dragon shadows rushed out of the primal chaos dragon spear, all of them rushing in the direction of the blood spirit sky. In comparison, the azure dragon's speed was several times that of the blood spirit skies. It was extraordinarily fast. Haha, who asked you to curse me? Don't you know that I'm a very vengeful person? Lin Rei's smile was terrifying in blood spirit sky's eyes. In blood spirit sky's eyes, this smile was the face of a death god. The gaze of death made him feel uncomfortable. Ah. Ah. No, big brother, no. Grandpa, is that not enough? Don't do it again. If you do, blood spirit sky was about to say, if you do it again, I'll fight back. But when the words reached his mouth, he swallowed them back. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but that he didn't dare. After all, the azure dragons weren't something he could contend with. Ugh. Damn it. Why did you say get lost? Blood spirit sky thought back to just now. He knew that with Lin Rei's personality, he knew that he couldn't escape the azure dragon's grasp, but he still said it anyway. Ah! The miserable screams continued unabated. When the screams stopped in Linley's ears, his mood improved slightly. Heh! Let's see if you dare. Ignoring blood spirit sky's pain, he pulled out the chaos dragon spear and walked down the mountain with heavy steps. As for blood spirit sky, he was still in a state of regret. Although his mouth was happy, his body was in pain. Ah! Chapter 1048. The Lin family was decorated with lanterns and colored banners. It had been a long time since the Lin family was this lively. The last time was when Lin Rei was born. Today could be said to be the day of the Lin family's rebirth. After all, the Lin family, which had been shrouded in darkness for a long time, had almost disappeared. After all, the threat to the Lin family in Lian City had been resolved. As for the matter of Guangyun Empire, Lu Chongtian didn't plan to tell Master Lin. This matter was too serious. If he told him, it would make the Lin family worry. Rather than that, he might as well not tell him. After leaving this time, he would return to the Divine Valley. He might have to deal with Guangyun Empire personally. In the Lin family hall, everyone in the Lin family was present. Everyone was smiling. The gloomy atmosphere in the Lin family had completely disappeared. The younger generation of the Lin family was threatening Lu Chongtian. Looking at this person who stood up for the Lin family, they didn't expect him to be so young. Moreover, he was Lin Rei's disciple. As for Lu Chongtian, although he was being looked at like an animal, although it didn't feel good, when he thought about how the other party was Lin Rei's clan brother or something, he suppressed his displeasure. Lu Chongtian's face was always elegant. In any case, he used to be the lord of a city, so he still understood this kind of etiquette. He stood up and walked in front of Master Lin. He bowed and said respectfully, "Old master, this time I'm returning to the Lin family. I've been ordered by my master to remove all obstacles in front of the Lin family. Lian City is gone now, but from what I know, the entire Fire Country's Lin family has disappeared as well. Hence, I will be sending men to all the various family clans in the Fire Country, even to the Imperial family in the Fire Country's capital. I will personally make a trip there, to ensure that they will not dare to order the Lin family around anymore, and will not dare to play any tricks behind our backs. What do you think of this?" That was what he thought, but he still needed the old man's permission. After all, the old man in front of him was his master's grandfather. At this moment, the old man's smile widened. He nodded. "All right, let's do as you say." Grandpa, you're flattering me." Lu Chongtian was dumbfounded by the old man's words. "I'm your grandson's disciple. If my master finds out that you're calling me mister, I'm afraid that even if I don't lose a layer of skin, I'll still feel very uncomfortable. Moreover, you're not following the rules." As he spoke, he couldn't help but wipe off his cold sweat. "If it's possible, you can call me Little Lu, Little Tian, Chong Tian, whatever. But, please don't call me mister." Master Lin did not expect Lu Chongtian to be so agitated. It could be seen that he was very afraid of his grandson. There was no other way. With Lu Chongtian's appearance, if he didn't agree, he was afraid that Lu Chongtian would not get up. Thus, he nodded and agreed. "All right, since that's the case, Little Tian, I'll have to trouble you with this matter. If you need anything, you can tell me at any time." Although this old man is old, there are still some things that I can do.
Lu Changtian agreed with this point.
Although the Lin family had declined, the Lin family's influence in the military was very strong.
All right, then it's settled.
After today, I'll send someone out to settle this matter as soon as possible. As he spoke, a smile flashed across his face.
Oh right. As if he thought of something, he spoke again.
This time, other than helping the Lin family solve their problem, I've also helped the Lin family obtain the right to cultivate in the Sword Sect. In the future, everyone in the Lin family can enter the Sword Sect to cultivate. As long as the Lin family wants, the Sword Sect will not stop them. In fact, we'll do our best to help the Lin family cultivate armaments.
What?
This news was undoubtedly a piece of important news for the Lin family and for the current Lin family.
What you said? Is what you said true?
You're not lying to me? This news was too big, especially regarding the Sword Sect. He had heard of this strength before. Back then, when the old man from Huangfu came to break off the engagement, didn't he mention the Sword Sect?
Yes, no, it's true.
Moreover, I've brought back all the elders of the Sword Sect. As he spoke, he turned to look at Wang Yun. At this moment, Wang Yun was sitting quietly at a table, drinking wine and eating meat. She was very uncomfortable.
Wang Yun, come here. Okay.
In response to Wang Yun's sudden summons, Wang Yun spoke without hesitation.
She got up and went to Lu Changtian's side.
This is Master Lin, my master's grandfather and the current head of the Lin family. Before Wang Yun could speak, Lu Changtian introduced him first. As for Lu Changtian's introduction, Wang Yun knew what was going on. She quickly turned around and bowed to Master Lin.
I'm Wang Yun.
Greetings, Master Lin. I've long heard of Master Lin's reputation. Now that I've met you, you really live up to your reputation. Master Lin, Lu Changtian, even a 3-year-old child wouldn't believe Wang Yun's words. She was really good at fabricating rumors. However, Master Lin also cooperated with her. He nodded and smiled.
You're too kind.
May I know who you are? Don't. Wang Yun's voice was almost a cry of surprise. However, she immediately understood her actions and nodded awkwardly to everyone around her. Then she looked at Master Lin again, wiped her cold sweat, and explained. Master Lin, please call me Wang Yun. I don't dare to call you sir. This. Seeing Wang Yun's reaction, the old master could only look at Lu Changtian as if he wanted to hear an explanation from him. Old master, he's Wang Yun, the elder of the Sword Sect. He's also the one who's stationed in the Lin family this time. From today onwards, everyone in the Lin family can go to the Sword Sect to cultivate. Of course, it's voluntary. If you're unwilling, then forget it. Oh, the elder of the Sword Sect. The old master's expression changed a little when he saw Wang Yun.
Yes. Brother Lu is right.
From today onwards, the Lin family can go to the Sword Sect to learn. After all, my Sword Sect will do our best to support the Lin family. From now on, we'll be inseparable from the Lin family. As for me, from today onwards, I will be stationed in the Lin family to protect the Lin family. This time, I brought 2 elders with me. The rest of the people are the elites of the sect. From now on, they will also be stationed in the Lin family to protect the Lin family from external enemies. In Lu Changtian's opinion, Wang Yun was expressing her loyalty. He understood that all of this was to build a relationship with Lin Rei. However, this was also human nature. After all, who didn't want their sect to become stronger? The good news came too quickly, to the point that the old man couldn't react in time. What the hell was going on? Why did the Swords Gate suddenly want the Lin family to be stationed in the Swords Gate, and even allow the Lin family to cultivate in the Swords Gate? More importantly, Wang Yun was so respectful in front of Lu Changtian. The old master, who was over 50 years old, seemed to understand a little. He vaguely felt that this matter seemed to have something to do with his grandson. Chapter 1049. If that's the case, then it's decided. A smile appeared on his face as he nodded at the 2 of them. Then, he walked to the center of the hall. At this moment, Master Lin's dispirited aura had disappeared, and he was full of vigor and energy. Everyone, quiet down, quiet down. Whoosh! As soon as Master Lin spoke, the people who were chatting, discussing cultivation, eating, or toasting each other instantly quieted down. Everyone looked at Master Lin with confusion. They didn't understand what the old man meant. Master Lin glanced at the people around him and understood their confusion. He cleared his throat and said with vigor, "Today is a day of double happiness for my Lin family." He didn't hide the Lin family's recent situation. "I believe everyone should know that the Lin family has been attacked by unknown people recently. Regardless of whether it's the direct descendants or the collateral descendants, there have been many casualties." As soon as he said this, all the members of the Lin family lowered their heads. Their hearts were filled with sorrow. That's right. During this period of time, their friends, relatives, and lovers had all been attacked for unknown reasons. Some were dead, some were injured. Sometimes they were still talking and laughing in the morning, but in the afternoon, they might become corpses. Everyone instinctively didn't mention this. After all, the Lin family's atmosphere had been strange recently. They originally thought that this situation would continue, but today, seeing so many cultivators who were at the same level as their old man, their hearts relaxed. They didn't know that their worries had already been alleviated. Sigh. He let out a long sigh and felt his body relax. His mood also improved a lot with the good news. He raised his head to look at everyone and continued, "Today, I want to announce the first good news. From today onwards, my Lin family doesn't have to worry about what happened before anymore. Today, a strong cultivator helped my Lin family and defeated the Long family. From now on, the Lin family will once again become the ruler of Lian City. I hope that everyone can continue to contribute to the family like before. At the same time, my Lin family's business will be reopened. All the shop owners and workers who were rejected before but are still alive will return to the battlefield and help my Lin family rebuild its business path." Really? At this moment, a manager of the Lin family became excited when he heard old Master Lin's words. The higher-ups were very clear about the Lin family situation. Yesterday, the Lin family was still gloomy, but now, after just one night, everything was fine? That's right, Master. Can our Lin family really act as usual? Yeah, one by one, they opened their mouths to ask Master Lin. It was not that they did not believe him, but this matter came too suddenly, and they had been a little unable to react. Haha, the old man smiled and nodded. Yes, it's true. I understand what you all are thinking, but I must say that it is indeed true. The Long family has indeed been defeated, and Lian City has returned to the Lin family. As he spoke, he turned around and pointed at Lu Changtian and Wang Yun behind him as he introduced them. This is the powerhouse who defeated the Long family, Lu Changtian. As for this person, he pointed at Wang Yun and said, "This is Elder Wang Yun of the Sword Sect. He is also the helper who defeated the Long family this time. Speaking of which, the second matter is out." His smile became even wider. He was very happy and excited about the Sword Sect moving into the Lin family. After all, he still understood the strength of the Sword Sect. "Master, don't keep us in suspense. Hurry up and say it." An old man could not help but say. Haha, okay. Seeing that someone could not wait, Master Lin did not keep them in suspense. He opened his mouth and told them about the Sword Sect. From today onwards, our Lin family will be united with the Sword Sect. Elder Wang Yun and the people he brought are all powerhouses who have moved into the Lin family. In the future, everyone must support each other without distinction. Boom. The Sword Sect moving into the Sword Sect was like a nuclear bomb that bombarded everyone's hearts. If the first news was a pleasant surprise, then the second news could be said to be a shock. The Sword Sect was the most powerful sect in Yen country. Now, it was going to move into the Lin family and help the Lin family defeat the Long family. This was simply like a dream. Behind him, Wang Yun saw this scene and smiled. She stepped forward and stood behind Master Lin. She spoke. "Cultivation. My name is Wang Yun. Just like what the old man said just now, I am an elder of the Sword Sect. This time, other than helping the Lin family solve their problems, I am also here to unite with the Lin family." Moreover, the sect master said that if anyone from Rua Lin's family wants to enter the Sword Sect to cultivate, they can go at any time. As long as they are from the Lin family, the Sword Sect will accept them. There is no time to enter the Sword Sect. They will be nurtured by the Sword Sect with all their might. Hiss! The crowd fell silent.
Other than the sound of people sucking in cold breaths, there was complete silence. This news was too shocking. Nurturing the Lin family's disciples with all their might. Was there such a good thing in the world? As people in this world where the strong were respected, they understood that there was no such thing as a free lunch in the world. Now that the Sword Sect had offered such generous conditions, who knew what conditions they would have in the future? Someone from the Lin family understood. He looked at Wang Yun and asked, "Elder Wang Yun, what does the Lin family have to pay for the Sword Sect's actions?" Don't tell me that the Sword Sect doesn't ask for anything in return. Who would believe that? Wang Yun, Lu Changtian, Master Lin. These words came too suddenly, so the old master didn't have time to stop them. However, when he looked at the young man who asked the question, the old master remembered him. After all, most of the people who could ask this question were meticulous. When everyone heard this, their gazes fell on Wang Yun. They waited expectantly for Wang Yun's answer. They also wanted to know. Did the Sword Sect not want anything in return for nurturing them with all their might? Wang Yun had already thought of everyone's doubts, and she even thought of an answer. She looked up at everyone and said, "I understand everyone's worries. What I want to say is that the Sword Sect and the Lin family will not be separated in the future. We are one family. My Sword Sect sincerely wants the Lin family to be united. There are no conditions or requests. Similarly, we will not harm the Lin family, so everyone can rest assured." Since things had developed to this point, Master Lin couldn't let the situation develop any further. He immediately stood up and said, "All right, this matter is settled. From now on, the Lin family and the Sword Sect will not be separated. As for the disciples who entered the Sword Sect to cultivate, they could register with Elder Wang Yun tomorrow, and head to the Sword Sect to cultivate in a few days." "I want to sign up." This time, there was an uproar in the crowd. It was no longer as quiet as before. They had long yearned for the Sword Sect, but the selection criteria for the Sword Sect was too strict. They thought that this was their dream in this life, but now, everything had changed. Chapter 1050. All of you quiet down. Old Master Lin's expression suddenly froze when he heard the commotion. He didn't expect that this matter alone would make the Lin family's disciples so crazy. "You don't have any manners at all. Can't you see that the guests are still here? How can you be like this?" And, after he said this, the scene became quiet again. The Lin family members all quieted down and didn't say anything. No one was shouting about signing up like before. "All right, eat properly. The registration will begin tomorrow. If this old man finds out that any of you dared to harass the Sword Sect today, don't blame this old man for being merciless." After he said this, the old man called Wang Yun back to her seat and started drinking and chatting. The scene was not harmonious at all. As for Lu Changtian, after drinking half of the wine, he really didn't like this kind of scene. He quietly left the hall and went to a rooftop. With one hand holding a wine pot and the other holding a fruit plate, he sat on the rooftop and watched the moon leisurely. I didn't think that after leaving for a while, I would start to feel a bit strange about that terrifying place, the Divine Valley. After staying in the Divine Valley for more than a year, he wasn't used to this kind of colorful world after coming out. More or less, he missed the inhuman battles from before. During those days, there was nothing but blood and tears. I didn't think that this old man would have this kind of sadistic mentality. Thinking about it, he shook his head fiercely and abandoned this kind of thought. Ta-ta, just as Lin Rei was sighing, light footsteps entered Lu Changtian's ears. He looked up and saw a middle-aged woman walking towards him. Looking at the woman's appearance, temperament, and the material of her clothes, it was obvious that this woman's identity was not simple. Moreover, he was now in the Lin family. As Lin Rei's disciple, he couldn't be impudent in front of such an unknown woman. Grabbing the wine pot, he jumped down from the rooftop and came to the woman's side. He looked up at the woman and bowed. "This one is Lu Changtian. Miss, you are?" "Miss." Faced with Lu Changtian's greeting, Huayun was stunned. She didn't think too much about it and returned the greeting. "Madam Huayun greets young Master Lu." Seeing Huayun salute, Lu Changtian was stunned. "So it's Miss Huayun. What's your relationship with Lin Province?" Lu Changtian went straight to the point.
He didn't dare to be careless before he figured out the other party's identity. After all, it would be troublesome if he made a mistake. Hua Yun wanted to laugh at Lu Chongtian's reaction, but when she thought of the reason for her actions, she held back her laughter. Your name is Hua Yun, the daughter-in-law of the Lin family, Lin Rei's mother. May I ask, plop? Without waiting for Hua Yun to finish speaking, Lu Chongtian's legs went soft and he knelt on the ground. Cold sweat flowed down his forehead uncontrollably. His heart was filled with fear. Thinking about his actions towards Hua Yun just now, he heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he didn't do anything before. Otherwise, if Lin Rei knew, he would probably tear him apart and feed him to the dogs. Grand Mistress. Bang bang bang. He knocked his head heavily on the ground 3 times. His face was full of embarrassment. Grand Mistress, this one is Lu Chongtian. Lin Rei is my master. Hua Yun. She couldn't accept the change in the way Lu Chongtian addressed her now. Before, he kept calling her Mississippi. Now that he knew her identity, he changed it to Grand Mistress. However, seeing Lu Chongtian kneeling on the ground, Hua Yun didn't think much of it. She quickly said, "Get up first. I have something to ask you." Although Lu Chongtian was her daughter-in-law's disciple, she knew about his powerful cultivation from her grandfather. Therefore, she couldn't help but speak with a polite tone. "Yes, Grand Mistress." After receiving the order, Lu Chongtian stood up and obediently stood in front of Hua Yun. He lowered his head and didn't dare to look at Hua Yun. "You're Rei's disciple?" Hua Yun asked. "Yes, this one is Lin Rei's disciple." "And in that case," looking at Lu Chongtian, Hua Yun asked, "Since you're Rei's disciple, you should know about Rei's current situation. Is he doing well? Where is he now? When will he come back to visit? I haven't seen him in a long time." Listening to the questions from his Grand Mistress, Lu Chongtian blushed with shame. He immediately responded, "Grand Mistress, you can rest assured. Master is doing very well. He eats well and sleeps well." As for where he is now, Lu Chongtian was a bit embarrassed. After all, Lin Rei specifically told him not to spread news about him. But now, facing Hua Yun, Lu Chongtian was a bit conflicted. Should he say or not? This question was worth investigating. What, is Rei in danger? Seeing Lu Chongtian hesitate, Hua Yun suddenly became worried. No, Master is doing very well. And in the Destiny Realm, no one can hurt Master. Then? Seeing Hua Yun's anxious expression, Lu Chongtian's heart jumped. He understood Hua Yun's worries. After hesitating for a while, he finally decided to tell Hua Yun about Lin Rei. Master is in the Divine Valley right now. But don't worry, Master is very safe. There is nothing in the Divine Valley that can threaten Master. Divine? No, how could Rei go to the Divine Valley? As a citizen of the Yen country, she naturally understood how terrifying the Divine Valley was. Now, she understood why Lu Chongtian hesitated. Grand Mistress, it's really fine. Master is very strong. You don't have to worry. Lu Chongtian felt that Hua Yun's worries were a bit unnecessary. After all, he was very clear about Lin Rei's cultivation. What are you saying? Hua Yun's words were gentle before. But now, her tone was filled with frost. How could Rei go to a dangerous place like the Divine Valley? No, we must hurry to the Divine Valley and find Rei. After saying that, she turned and walked outside. Since Hua Yun had made a decision, it wasn't something that could be changed by ordinary people. Grand Mistress. He didn't think that the Grand Mistress in front of him would be so impatient. But from Hua Yun's perspective as a mother, her behavior wasn't impatient at all. You don't need to say anything. You must listen to me on this matter. There's no room for discussion. This little brat. I originally wanted him to go out and relax. I didn't think that he would run to such a dangerous place like the Divine Valley. Let's see if I'll still let him go out after he comes back. As she spoke, she walked outside. Hua Yun's words shocked Lu Chongtian, who was behind her. Motherfastress Kerr. This Motherfastress Kerr son of a bitch. I'm also so fierce. Hua Yun was probably the only person in the entire Destiny realm who dared to say such words to Lin Rei.
And Lin Rei wouldn't be angry, right?
Chapter 1051. Seeing that Hua Yun's figure was getting further and further away, Lu Changtian knew that he would not be able to stop her. However, when he thought of the dangers on the road and the dangers of entering the Divine Valley, with Hua Yun's current cultivation, not to mention entering the Divine Valley to find Lin Rei, even entering the very beginning of the Divine Valley would be a problem for her. Helplessly, since Hua Yun had made her decision, as Lin Rei's disciple, he naturally could not sit by and do nothing. After making up his mind, his figure flashed as he rushed in the direction Hua Yun left. Lu Changtian was extremely fast. In a breath's time, he arrived in front of Hua Yun and reached out to stop her.
Grand Mistress, please wait. You want to stop me?
Seeing Lu Changtian in front of her, she frowned and snorted coldly. Hua Yun knew that she was no match for Lu Changtian. However, when she thought of the danger her son was in, she could not care less.
No. That's not it.
Realizing that Hua Yun had misunderstood his intentions, Lu Changtian was startled. Cold sweat flowed down his back uncontrollably.
Grand Mistress, it's like this.
This lowly one still has some matters to take care of here. One day. Wait for this lowly one day. After one day, this lowly one will personally escort you to the Divine Valley. At the same time, this lowly one also has some matters to discuss with Master. What do you think? Lu Changtian was negotiating, not ordering. After all, the person in front of him was Lin Rei's mother. Looking at Lu Changtian, Hua Yun hesitated. Right now, she missed her son immensely. However, when she thought of the Divine Valley and her own cultivation, she did not want to agree, but she had no choice. All right. However, I will only give you 1 day. After 1 day, regardless of whether you leave or not, I will leave for the Divine Valley. After saying that, she did not wait for Lu Changtian to reply. She turned around and walked towards her own courtyard, leaving behind an embarrassed Lu Changtian. Seeing Hua Yun's departing figure, Lu Changtian sighed. As expected of a mother and son. This temper. Tisk, she raised her head and looked at the pitch-black night sky. There were many stars and the moonlight was bright.
She frowned slightly. It seems that I have to speed up.
Otherwise, if I really let Grand Mistress go alone, I'm afraid I won't be able to explain it to Master. After saying that, his figure flashed and left. Not long after, he arrived in front of the Long family's gate. At this moment, the Long family's gate was no longer guarded like before. The door was wide open. Lu Changtian frowned at this scene and walked in. Along the way, Lu Changtian saw a lot of people. However, these people seemed to be very afraid of him. When they saw Lu Changtian, they lowered their heads and trembled, not saying much. This scene made Lu Changtian feel embarrassed to ask where Long Ming was. There was nothing he could do about it. Relying on his perception, he walked and stopped. Finally, he sensed Long Ming's aura in a secret room deep within the Long family. Looks like I went a little overboard earlier. At this moment, Long Ming's aura was very unstable, showing the extent of his injuries. Arriving at the door, he pushed it open and entered. Arriving at the door of the secret room, he sensed the situation inside and then raised his hand to open the door.
Long Ming, come out. I have something to say.
Lu Changtian's voice was filled with origin energy, so it was very penetrating. Even though the door of the secret room was very thick, it still clearly entered Long Ming's ears. Wang! This sound was very familiar to Long Ming. It was so familiar that it scared him. Why are you back again? Turning his head to look at the door, his heart was filled with doubts.
Hurry up. I'll give you 3 breaths.
If I don't see you standing in front of me after 3 breaths, then you can deal with the consequences. F***ck. As soon as these words came out, Long Ming cursed in his heart. Then, his figure flashed and arrived in front of the door. He pulled the mechanism and opened the door. At this moment, Long Ming did not dare to be negligent. After all, the pain in his body had not subsided. He did not want to go through this a few more times. Kacha. The sound of the door opening reached Lu Changtian's ears. A smile flashed across his face as he sat down on a chair at the side.
He picked up the teacup and took a sip.
His face revealed a look of enjoyment. This guy is living quite well. The tea is so good. Feeling the mellow fragrance of the tea, Lu Changtian could not help but envy Long Ming. As a person who loved tea, he understood the price of this cup of tea. He took a sip and tasted it. 3 breaths. After 3 breaths, Long Ming appeared in front of Lu Changtian as expected. Looking at Long Ming, Lu Changtian did not beat around the bush and said straightforwardly, "I'm leaving tomorrow. You take your men and follow me. As for your life, wait until we reach that place and wait for that person's decision. It's up to that person to kill or leave you alive. However, that person's mother is also going this time. As long as you can serve that person well on the way this time, I can't guarantee that you won't be killed, but it will still be useful." This. Looking at Lu Changtian, Long Ming hesitated. He did not want to give up on this place. After all, in the long family of Guangyun Empire, he was only the 3rd young master. His authority was limited. But here, he was the head of the family. His strength was very strong here. Of course, if you don't go, I'm afraid I won't be able to explain it. You can choose not to go, but if you do, I will kill you here. Long Ming was speechless. Are you King negotiating with me? You might as well threaten me directly. This sentence rang in Long Ming's mind, but his face was full of smiles as he nodded repeatedly. Go, of course we'll go. How can I not listen to Elder Lu's words? Long Ming began to express his position. Elder Lu, when you say we'll leave, we'll leave. There won't be a trace of sloppiness. Hee, that's good. Just now, I was still in a dilemma. If you don't go, should I kill you or just let it go? Fortunately, you made your choice. Otherwise, I would have been in a bit of a dilemma. Sweat. Long Ming let out a long sigh. Fortunately, I made the right choice. Otherwise, thinking about how powerful Lu Changtian was, Long Ming couldn't help but shiver. He wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and bowed. Elder Lu, since we're leaving tomorrow, I'll go gather my subordinates and pack up. Okay, go ahead. After receiving permission, Long Ming bowed and left the room. Fortunately, you chose to leave with me. Otherwise, I would have killed all of you. After all, I don't want to leave a scourge like you in Lian City. His voice wasn't loud, but the murderous intent emitted from his body was felt by Long Ming, who was far away from the room. Mother*Ker. Luckily I made the right choice. This Mother*Ker really isn't human. When it came to Lu Changtian, Long Ming's heart was filled with fear. As for the person that Lu Changtian mentioned, he was even more curious. What kind of person was able to subdue such a powerful person? One had to know that Lu Changtian was a martial honorable. That person had to be a martial sage, or even hiss. The more Long Ming thought about it, the more shocked he was. After all, how bizarre was it for someone with such strength to appear here? Sensing that Long Ming was far away, Lu Changtian got up and used the butterfly steps to rush toward the Lin family. At that moment, in the Lin family's hall, the banquet had already ended. Some people had also left. However, Master Lin, Wang Yun, Huang Zhong, and 4 or 5 other people stayed behind. It wasn't that Wang Yun and the others didn't want to leave. It was that Lu Changtian hadn't returned yet, and they didn't dare to leave. As for Master Lin, he didn't stay either. As the host of the Lin family, he didn't dare to leave when the guests were still in the hall. Therefore, he stayed here and didn't leave. Master Lin, you know the Long family? Suddenly, Wang Yun asked Master Lin. Perhaps it was because it was so sudden that Master Lin was stunned on the spot. What? The Long family? And yes, the Long family. Wang Yun nodded. Looking at Lu Changtian, Master Lin shook his head firmly. Elder Wang Yun, you must be joking. Before the Long family entered Lian City, I didn't know that there was such a family in the Yen country. Therefore, I don't know the Long family. Wang Yun was stunned by Master Lin's words. He frowned slightly. Since you don't know them, I wonder if there's any enmity between us? Or did your ancestors or juniors offend the Long family unintentionally? No, the ancestors of the Lin family never had any enmity with the Long family. As for the matter of Little North Gate, you can rest assured. The juniors of the Lin family have been taught strictly since they were young. They are not allowed to cause trouble outside. Moreover, The Long family seemed to have suddenly appeared in the Yen country. Therefore, he shrugged helplessly. He understood the meaning of Wang Yun's question. Unfortunately, he really didn't know the Long family. Wang Yun was puzzled by the answer he received. The Lin family and the Long family didn't know each other and didn't have any enmity between them. Why did the Long family target the Lin family? They even wanted to eliminate the Lin family to prevent future troubles. All right. In the end, Wang Yun could only give up. He also let go of the Long family's matter. After all, this matter was handed over to Lu Changtian. The scene fell into silence again. No one spoke. Everyone was thinking about their own matters. Ta-ta, footsteps sounded. Everyone came back to their senses and looked towards the door. They saw Lu Changtian, who had left for a long time, appear at the entrance of the hall. Brother Lu, you appeared at noon. Wang Yun was the first to welcome Lu Changtian's appearance. After all, Lu Changtian's appearance meant that they were not far from leaving. Changtian. Seeing Lu Changtian's appearance, Master Lin also stood up and greeted Lu Changtian. Old Master. Brother Wang. Looking at the crowd, Lu Changtian's eyes flashed with guilt. Then, he looked at Wang Yun and went straight to the point. Brother Wang, I'm leaving tomorrow, so I have to arrange things today. Otherwise, there won't be enough time. What? What? As soon as Lu Changtian said that, Wang Yun and Master Lin exclaimed in unison. The two of you don't have to be like this. Leaving is inevitable. After all, this matter hasn't been resolved yet. After I leave this time, this matter will probably be completely resolved when I return. At that time, the Lin family won't need to be reminded anymore. Looking at Lu Changtian, old Master Lin was very grateful. Changtian, I won't say any more words of thanks. Have a safe journey. Yes, have a safe journey. Say hello to Senior for us. Wang Yun echoed old Master Lin. Don't worry. Moving away from old Master Lin, his gaze fell on Wang Yun and the others. With a serious expression he said, in order to prevent the Lin family from being disturbed, everyone will take the initiative to attack this time. With Lian City as the center, we will advance to the surrounding cities. We must visit every city. If possible, make a trip to the Imperial City and tell the royal family that the Lin family will leave the Yen country in the future. Lian City will belong to the Lin family. Hearing this, Wang Yun was stunned. Her face was a little pale. Leaving the Yen country was a little too much. Why are you afraid that the Yen kingdom royalty will take action? She frowned and asked. No, it's just that if the Lin family leaves the Yen country, how will Lian City survive in the future? Just the bandits around Lian City will enter Lian City and plunder wantonly. Won't this have a negative impact on Lian City? This was Wang Yun's heartfelt words. This was the first time she heard of a city leaving the country. If a city left the country, it represented the city's independence. Although there were advantages, there were also disadvantages. If a city lost the protection of the country, the surrounding bandits would have thoughts of occupying the city. Moreover, the country's strong teams would also consider the idea of entering Lian City. Lu Changtian didn't care about what Wang Yun said at all. You don't have to worry about this. Didn't I tell you to send people to the surrounding areas with Lian City as the center? It's fine if the royal family follows the rules. If they dare to interfere or obstruct us, we will directly destroy them. From then on, the Yen country can be changed to the Lin country. Of course, this is necessary. After all, no one wants to see the destruction and rise of a country. All right, I'll listen to you. Wang Yun nodded in agreement. Yes, remember. Every city has to be changed. You must use a strong force to intimidate them. Otherwise, I'm afraid that after I leave, those bastards will attack the Lin family. All right, I understand. Don't worry. With the sword sect around, you can rest assured about the Lin family. Even if we fight to the last person in the sword sect, we won't let anything happen to the Long family. Wang Yun was serious. After all, even if something happened to the Lin family and the sword sect was fine, they would probably be destroyed by Lin Rei in the end. Therefore, it was better to use the sword sect to protect the Lin family. More sword sect. More elder Wang Yun. At the side, Master Lin stood up and bowed deeply to Wang Yun and the others. After all, for an elder of the sword sect to say such words, It meant that he was determined.
Ha! Old master, you shouldn't do this in the future. Otherwise, if senior finds out, I'm afraid I won't be able to bear the consequences.
As he spoke, he looked at Lu Changtian and asked for help.
Ha! Looking at Wang Yun's pleading look, Lu Changtian smiled and nodded. Old master, you can just call him by his name in the future.
Although the Sword Sect is allied with the Lin family, to be honest, the Sword Sect just wants to become a subsidiary of the Lin family.
Wang Yun was speechless.
The corner of Wang Yun's mouth twitched and his eyelids twitched at Lu Changtian's straightforwardness.
Ha, is that so? Even old Master Lin was speechless at Lu Changtian's straightforwardness. As the saying goes, see through something but don't say it out loud. Lu Changtian didn't care about the Sword Sect and Wang Yun's face at all. Yes. So, old master, you can just tell us directly in the future. We will definitely obey. Chapter 1052. Just like that, the group of people chatted for a long time. After they finally agreed on something, they left.
Lu Changtian returned to the room that Master Lin had arranged for him.
He did not sleep.
Instead, he sat cross-legged and cultivated according to the cultivation method that Lin Rei had given him. Although he could not convert the essence energy in his body into spirit energy now, he could use the beautiful spirit energy to strengthen his body.
Lu Changtian was a decent person. He was very satisfied with his current state. Although he had not become a cultivator like Lin Rei, at least his current cultivation was rapidly increasing.
It would not be long before he broke through his current cultivation and entered another level.
Time passed.
In the blink of an eye, the red sun slowly rose from the horizon.
Light shone into Lu Changtian's room through the window and imprinted on Lu Changtian's face. It's dawn? Feeling the light, Lu Changtian opened his eyes and looked at the bright sky outside the window. His heart was filled with dissatisfaction because he was not satisfied with cultivation yet. He felt that time had passed too quickly. In the blink of an eye, dawn had arrived. Today, he would bring Hui Yun, Long Ming, and the others on the journey back to the Divine Valley. He was slightly stunned. He got up and patted the wrinkled clothes on his body. He opened the door. The morning air was exceptionally fresh, but it was also cold. We're finally back. Lu Changtian was inexplicably excited about the Divine Valley. Although the Divine Valley was like hell to him, it was undeniable that he could obtain power there. Moreover, the speed at which his power increased was very significant. Brother Lu. Just as Lu Changtian was enjoying the early morning, Wang Yun's voice came from afar. He opened his eyes and lowered his head to look into the distance. Wang Yun's figure appeared in Lu Changtian's line of sight. Looking at Wang Yun, Lu Changtian was puzzled. He had already arranged everything previously. What was he doing here so early in the morning? With doubts, he walked toward Wang Yun.
Brother Wang, I wonder why you came to find me so early in the morning?
Hearing Lu Changtian's words, Wang Yun was taken aback. He stopped and awkwardly said, No, Brother Lu is about to leave, so I wanted to send you off. Lu Changtian. With regards to Wang Yun's actions, Lu Changtian was speechless. He even wanted to give her a gift? It wasn't like he was King Gay. That's what he thought, but he didn't say it out loud. Brother Wang, thank you for your concern. Since that's the case, then, let's go. As he spoke, he walked up to Wang Yun and walked side by side with her. The Lin family members who passed by all respectfully greeted him. Yesterday, after Lu Changtian and Wang Yun revealed their identities and learned of their cultivation bases, they didn't dare to have any other thoughts other than respect. The two of them arrived at the entrance of the Lin family. At this moment, there was a huge crowd at the entrance, and the one leading them was none other than the infamous Long Ming the day before yesterday. As for the others, they were all Long Ming's subordinates. You're here. When he came to the door and saw Long Ming, a satisfied expression flashed in Lu Changtian's eyes. Yes. We naturally have to listen to Senior's words. Although he said so, he was smiling bitterly in his heart. Ck, how can I not come? If I don't come, you will annihilate all of us. Lu Changtian didn't know what Long Ming was thinking. Of course he disdained to know. In his opinion, it was fine as long as Long Ming came. Otherwise,
It wouldn't be a big deal if all of them were annihilated. Senior, should we leave now or?
Long Ming spoke in a flattering tone.
After all, their lives were now in the hands of the man in front of them.
They had to be terrified.
No, we still have to wait for one more person. When that person comes, we will set off.
Looking at the door, Lu Chongtian said.
Remember, that person is the one you have to serve along the way. If that person feels uncomfortable, then you can go straight to hell. Murderous aura surged and he snorted coldly. Yes, yes, yes. Cold sweat couldn't help but emerge from his forehead. His face was pale as if he was being stared at by a ferocious beast from ancient times that had awakened from a deep slumber. His body couldn't help but tremble. His body was so frightened by Lu Chongtian's murderous aura that he took a step back. When the subordinates behind Long Ming saw this scene, their faces turned pale. Lu Chongtian's terror was engraved in their hearts. In their hearts, Lu Chongtian was the devil.
All right, don't be like this.
As long as you don't do anything, I won't do anything to you.
Lu Chongtian couldn't kill them. After all, they were left for Lin Rei. As for whether to kill them or not, it was up to Lin Rei to decide. Time passed bit by bit. Lu Chongtian and Wang Yun chatted.
They didn't know how much time had passed, but the sun had already risen above their heads. Tap, tap. Light footsteps came from behind. Everyone turned their heads and saw Hua Yun walking out of the Lin family's door. Grand Mistress, you're here. Looking at Hua Yun, Lu Chongtian changed his usual behavior and trotted to Hua Yun's side as if to curry favor, waiting for orders with a flattering expression. When Long Ming and the others saw Lu Chongtian's actions, their minds instantly went blank. Their expressions were filled with shock, as if they had seen something unbelievable. Even Wang Yun, who was at the side, was no different from Long Ming and the others, especially those who knew Lu Chongtian's cultivation level. Damn it! They said in their hearts at the same time. Then, they lowered their heads and didn't dare to look. They quietly waited for Lu Chongtian's orders. After Hua Yun spoke, the order was lifted.
All right, there's no time to lose. Let's hurry and go straight to the Divine Valley.
Okay, you have the final say. Lu Chongtian understood why Hua Yun was so anxious. He nodded and turned to look at Long Ming and the others. Did you hear that?
In a while. Tell your people to hurry up.
If anyone dares to fall behind, I won't let them off easily. When these words came out, Long Ming and the others' expressions changed. Cold sweat flowed down their faces, but they didn't dare to complain or refute. Let's go.
The group walked out of Lian City.
When they came, they were alone. Now they were going back as a group of more than 30 people. On the other side, Lin Rei didn't know that Lu Chongtian had brought his mother, Hua Yun, to the Divine Valley this time. If he knew, Lin Rei definitely wouldn't have left the Divine Valley. Instead, he would have waited for his mother to come and reunite with her.
Unfortunately, everything was a bit too late.
At this moment, Lin Rei had already left the Divine Valley and stepped on the road of travel with Blood Spirit Sky. From Lin Rei's point of view, what he thought of as working behind closed doors was just for show.
If he didn't experience the world of mortals, how could he see through it?
Moreover, his current realm was enough. What he lacked the most was spiritual energy. What worried him the most was his uncontrollable killing intent. Thinking about it, this was the reason why the little dragon had left him here. After all, this was the only reason Lin Rei could think of. It was because of the existence of killing intent. It wasn't obvious now, but once he cultivated to a high realm, it would become obvious. The more killing intent there was, the harder it would be to raise one's realm. Moreover, if the killing intent caused inner demons, the consequences would be unimaginable.
Chapter 1053. Eastern Region. Void Chant City.
Not far away, a comically dressed young man was walking over. He seemed to have blended into nature, giving off an amiable feeling. With a single glance, one could tell that he was a member of a large family clan. Furthermore, his status in a large family clan was not low.
I say, why did we come here?
There's nothing fun here. Why don't we go and explore the various forbidden areas? Who knows, we might even be able to increase our cultivation.
What use do you have for coming here? What else do you have apart from people?
This was a voice that appeared in the young man's mind. The voice was filled with impatience.
What do you know?
The young man snorted coldly.
You only know how to cultivate. What's the use if you don't increase your cultivation? Forbidden areas? Why don't you go and die?
With my current cultivation, isn't going to a forbidden area the same as courting death? Or do you want me to die in a forbidden area so that you can be free? The more he spoke, the more gloomy the young man's expression became. His scholarly aura was instantly replaced by this gloominess. Lin Rei's mood suddenly changed. The voice instantly became terrified. It stuttered as if it was extremely afraid of the young man.
Lin Rei, I was just saying. Don't take it seriously.
Don't take it seriously.
That's right.
This gloomy-looking young man was none other than Lin Rei, who had left the Divine Valley. As for the voice in Lin Rei's mind, it was none other than the blood dragon, Xueqi. The two of them walked and stopped. In a month's time, they had arrived here from the Divine Valley. Originally, when Lin Rei saw the city, he had planned to go in to eat and drink. However, he did not expect Xueqi to be so sigh. Letting out a long sigh, his expression eased a little. Remember, before your niece says anything, you'd better shut up. After saying that, he ignored Xueqi and walked toward Void Chant City alone. Along the way, Lin Rei heard many legends about Void Chant City. He heard that the origin of Void Chant City was extremely legendary. It seemed to have surged up from underground. No one knew what was going on. Of course, these were only legends. As for the specifics, no one knew. Looking at Void Chant City, Lin Rei was standing in front of the city gates. Looking at this massive city, he felt quite puzzled. This city was somewhat out of place compared to the other cities in the Destiny boundary. Lin Rei even felt a sense of familiarity with Void Chant City.
TSK. What's going on? I've never been here before, so why do I have such a feeling about this place? He was a little confused, but he didn't think too much about it. After all, there was no need to think about this kind of thing. He walked into the city. Strangely enough, there were a lot of people coming and going in the city. It was almost comparable to a capital city. Following the flow of people into Xueqi, they saw all kinds of shops. Many stalls were set up at the entrance, hawking their wares. The scene was exceptionally lively. It's here. Flaming Tiger's Tiger Tooth. 500 gold coins. Good stuff. You won't get another chance like this. The Void Spirit Grass is sold at a low price. Come and take a look. It's not 99%. It's only 50%. Come and see. The weapon that Martial God once used, the Void Sword. It can cut through the void with a single slash. Come and take a look. It's cheap. The voices of people hawking their wares fell into Lin Rei's ears. Lin Rei only felt the urge to laugh when he heard these things. Especially when he heard about the Void Sword, he wanted to laugh even more. Things like the Void Sword did exist, but it was impossible for a weapon of this price to appear here. Even the Divine World didn't have it, let alone this low-level realm. As for the Flaming Tiger's teeth, Linley couldn't help but think of Little Tiger. Wasn't Little Tiger the Flaming Tiger? If he saw this scene, he would probably be so angry that he would open his bloody mouth and swallow this person whole. Interesting. I didn't expect to hear things that only exist in the cultivation world here. Lin Rei was very curious. As far as he knew, there wasn't a flaming tiger in the entire Heavenly Fate continent, especially the Void Sword. Why would an existence of this level appear in this place? Linley was now even more curious about this Void Chant City. Previously, he had only been curious because of that legend. Now that he had heard of these things which could only be found in the deity realm, Linley was even more certain that this place was not simple at all. What's wrong? Where are we going now? Just as Lin Rei was pondering, the voice of the blood spirit sky sounded. Let's go eat. Let's go see how the restaurants in Void Chant City are like. It's been a long time since I've eaten good food. Okay, hurry up. I'm starving. The blood spirit sky had no resistance to delicious food. Lin Rei was speechless. Regarding the blood spirit sky, Lin Rei was speechless. What else could he do? Previously he looked reluctant, but now it was indeed the case. Without thinking about it, he took a step forward and scanned the items in the stalls. He also knew how to pick up scraps, but along the way, he was disappointed that among so many things,
there wasn't a single thing that was worth picking up. However, he had to admit that a big city was indeed a big city. Although there wasn't anything that caught his eye, there were a few things that would probably cause a bloody storm in the heavenly fate continent if they appeared in the world. Just when Lin Rei thought that he couldn't find anything he liked, suddenly, a small golden coffin-like thing appeared in Lin Rei's vision. This thing is a little interesting. In this small golden coffin, Lin Rei felt a huge amount of spiritual energy flash past. Although it was just a flash, Lin Rei still noticed it. In this world that was close to the end of the Dharma Age, it could be said that it was rare to encounter something with such a huge amount of spiritual energy. Feeling that this thing was extraordinary, Lin Rei slowly walked to the stall where the small golden coffin was placed, took off his clothes, and looked at it himself.
Yo, little brother, I don't know what you want to buy. You can rest assured that I guarantee the quality of the things here. There isn't a trace of fake.
The stall owner, who was narrowing his eyes, saw Lin Rei's arrival and looked at the clothes on Lin Rei's body. He understood that a fat sheep had appeared.
How much is this thing?
Lin Rei went straight to the point and pointed at the small coffin.
He was determined to get this thing.
This. Looking at the thing Lin Rei pointed at, the stall owner was startled and immediately responded. Although this thing looks good, it's actually useless.
I can't open it and I don't know what's inside. Are you sure you want this thing?
The stall owner confirmed.
I'm sure.
Lin Rei was a little surprised by the stall owner's words. He had never encountered such a situation before. In the past, the stall owners were either thinking about how to cheat people or how to get more from the fat sheep. However, the stall owner in front of him was persuading him not to buy.
Has the world changed?
Chapter 1054. Lin Rei's persistence made the stall owner feel helpless. He nodded and said, "All right, since you insist, I won't say anything more." Then, he looked at the small golden coffin and said, "Just give me 100 gold coins." As soon as these words came out, the surrounding people's gazes were attracted. 100 gold coins. This was an astronomical number for an ordinary person. Even for an ordinary cultivator, this was not a small amount of wealth. Everyone's eyes gathered on Lin Rei. They were wondering if the young man in front of them could afford such a huge sum. Of course, when some people saw the small coffin, they had the thought that the stall owner was cheating them again. Of course, Linley ignored everyone's gazes. Since Linley didn't care what they thought. In Linley's heart, this little coffin was worth 5,000 gold coins, let alone 100 gold coins. This was because the coffin contained the most scarce thing in this world, spiritual energy. Lin Rei could feel that the spiritual energy in this small coffin was very terrifying. Moreover, the spiritual energy was very pure. It was even close to the spiritual energy in the immortal world. Although he didn't know what was going on, he was sure that only he could use this thing. As for how to open it, he didn't know. He would have to investigate it carefully after he got it. All right, 100 gold coins it is. Linley immediately agreed, and then began to rummage through his clothes. 100 gold coins wasn't a lot, but it wasn't a small amount either. Most people wouldn't be able to carry 100 gold coins on them at all times. Lin Rei's actions made the stall owner see something. He didn't expect Lin Rei to put 100 gold coins on himself. A short while later, Linley felt left and right, and finally, 100 gold coins appeared in front of the stall owner, not missing a single one. The stall owner was speechless. He had nothing to say about Lin Rei's boldness. He lowered his head and took out the small golden coffin. He handed it to Lin Rei and waited for him to accept it. Heh! Looking at the golden coffin, a smile appeared on Linley's face. He stretched out his hand, intending to take it. But to Linley's surprise, just as he was about to accept the small coffin, a hand suddenly appeared and interrupted Linley's beautiful mood.
"Oh, this little thing is quite pretty."
A sharp voice sounded, and a hand was already placed on top of the small golden coffin that the shop owner handed over, looking like he was going to take it away. Lin Rei's mood was completely ruined by the appearance of this thought. Originally, he was very happy to have encountered spiritual energy. However, he had encountered such a disgusting thing midway. Young master, I'm really sorry. This item has already been bought by this young master, so
I'm really sorry.
The boss's attitude was very firm. In his opinion, Whoever he sold it to was who he sold it to.
Since the other party paid for it, it had to be the other party's. It was his principle as a businessman to not give it away or change it. However, when the stall owner's words fell into Lin Rei's ears, Lin Rei was stunned. After all, the probability of this happening was very small. Looking at the stall owner, a flash of light appeared in Lin Rei's eyes. He was very satisfied with the stall owner's performance. However, for the person who reached out to snatch the item, the stall owner's words were very harsh. When the man who grabbed the small golden coffin heard the stall owner's words, his expression suddenly changed. An aura that did not belong to an ordinary person rushed out of his body. Are you sure you don't want to take back what you just said? It was a blatant threat. He did not expect his boss's attitude. Heh. You don't have to say it. I'm very sure. You should give up on this item.
After saying that, his hands shook, and he fiercely threw the man's hand away.
Then, he handed the coffin to Lin Rei. Young master, this is your item. Please keep it well. You dare?
A loud roar came from the man who interrupted.
Boy, in Void Chant City, no one dares to go against my young master. Are you sure you want to keep this item? Don't you want to reconsider?
Perhaps in the man's opinion, they were very powerful, so powerful that the people of Void Chant City were afraid of them. Unfortunately, there was always a chance. Unfortunately, the person they met was Lin Rei, a person who was not afraid of ghosts and gods. Ha, ha, ha. A loud laugh burst out from Lin Li's mouth. His voice was so laughable, and his face was filled with disdain.
Little fellow, do you know what happened to the last person who threatened me? What? What happened?
Lin Rei's laughter came out of nowhere. The man was so frightened that he subconsciously answered Lin Rei's question. Heh, you'll know soon enough. What? The man did not understand.
Go kill him, Lin Rei said. His words were directed at the blood spirit sky. You whoosh. Poochie.
The man wanted to speak, but when he opened his mouth to say the first word, a wave of pleasure came from his chest.
His consciousness gradually blurred, and his entire body became weak as he fell backward.
Humph, threatening me. Lin Rei looked at the dead man and snorted coldly.
Fortunately, you didn't say what the power behind you was. Otherwise, it wouldn't be just you. Even your master wouldn't be able to escape. Hiss. Lin Rei did not hide his words from the people around him.
In his opinion, there was no need to do so.
As for the stall owner, he was shocked by this sudden scene. He was completely stunned.
He did not even see how the young man in front of him attacked, and the man was already dead.
He raised his head and looked at Lin Rei in shock.
His eyes were full of fear, especially the last sentence, which contained a strong killing intent.
Heh.
He snorted coldly, then lowered his head to observe the small coffin. He closed his eyes and quietly felt the vigorous spiritual energy inside. Lin Li, who was in the middle of his senses, suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with disbelief.
A formation?
How is this possible?
That's right, it was a formation.
There was a formation in this small coffin, and it did not seem to be a low-level formation.
What's going on? Isn't this the Age of Chaos, a low-level realm? Why would a formation appear here? Moreover, and the formation's level is so high. Of course, Lin Rei could easily deal with the formation's power if he was at his peak. But now, that was not necessarily the case.
After all, without the support of spiritual qi, he did not have much confidence that Montgomery would be able to break the array formation of this small coffin.
Fuck, there's a treasure mountain, but there's nothing to open it. Isn't this a joke? Chapter 1055. Young man, I advise you to leave quickly. Now that you've killed someone from the Xueqi clan, I'm afraid there will be no place for you in Void Chant City. The sudden voice woke Lin Rei from his thoughts.
Turning his head to look, he saw that an old man had unknowingly appeared in front of him. Looking at him, his expression was filled with excitement.
Xueqi clan?
Lin Rei was stunned by the sudden appearance of this clan.
Could it be that the Xueqi clan was very powerful in Void Chant City? Yes, the Xueqi clan.
The person you just killed seems to be the personal servant of the eldest young master of the Xueqi clan.
This servant grew up with the eldest young master of the Xueqi clan,
so he was very protective of him. Now that you've killed his servant, I'm afraid there will be no place for you in Void Chant City.
Listen to my advice. Leave. Only by leaving can you survive. Otherwise, it will be difficult to stay in Void Chant City.
Lin Rei was stunned when he heard those words.
He could not understand why he looked so weak. Of course, he would not say that out loud. He smiled and said, "All right, thank you, old man."
After saying that, he ignored the old man and walked into the depths of Void Chant City with a small coffin in his hand. His original intention was to search for his restaurant, but he was interrupted by the small coffin midway.
Lin Rei, aren't you afraid that the Xueqi clan will come to settle the score with you? Xueqi asked with disdain.
Heh, the Xueqi clan. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to find them.
Since they're here then, I'll kill them all. After all, I'm not someone who likes to leave trouble for myself.
Fine.
Blood Lingtian's body trembled in approval of Lin Li's decision. I'll leave this matter to you. If anyone from the Xueqi clan comes while I'm eating, kill them all. A cold voice sounded in Xueqingtian's ears. Xueqingtian was speechless. Xueqingtian was speechless at the task Lin Rei assigned to him. There was nothing he could do. After all, he was the master. The two of them fell silent. As they walked, Lin Rei searched for a restaurant.
On the other side, in the Xueqi family manor, in the residence of the eldest son of the Xueqi family, a loud roar could be heard as he rushed out of his room.
Bastard, who is it? Who killed my men? Don't you know that they are from my Xueqi clan?
Below Xueqi Wuyong, there was a young man kneeling. He was the one who came to report the death of his servant.
Eldest young master. That person seems to have just entered Void Chant City. He looks unfamiliar, but his cultivation is very strong. Powerful cultivation?
Ha ha ha.
Powerful cultivation. So what if your cultivation is strong? You killed my men. Even if your cultivation base is strong, you will still die.
My men are not so easily killed. The moment he said that, the young man felt the air around him suddenly freeze. Eldest young master. Then, all right, you have done well in this matter.
Go and receive your reward. Xueqi Wuyong said.
Thank you, young master, thank you. The young man was excited. Xueqi Wuyong always gave him a lot of rewards.
This time, it would definitely not be a small amount.
Looking at the young man's back, Xueqi Wuyong's eyes were filled with killing intent.
Very good.
How dare you kill my men in my territory?
Heh, just you wait.
At this moment, Lin Rei, who was in front of a restaurant, did not know that he had been targeted by the forces of Void Chant City.
Of course, this was not something that Lin Rei was thinking about.
At this moment, Lin Rei looked at the restaurant in front of him and hesitated. He was considering whether he should go in or not. Although the restaurant looked luxurious, Lin Rei had an inexplicable feeling of disgust in his heart. This feeling came so suddenly that even Lin Rei was a little shocked.
Let's go in. I can smell the fragrance of the food inside.
Lin Rei's hesitation made the blood spirit sky unable to stand it. After all, with delicious food in front of him, how could he let him know that he was a carnivore?
He instinctively wanted to refuse, but he was also attracted by the fragrance.
In the end, he nodded and said, "All right, since that's the case, let's go in and take a look." After saying that, he threw the disgust from before to the back of his mind and walked towards the restaurant.
Ouch! Suddenly, a woman's cry of pain sounded.
At the entrance of the restaurant, a woman was lying on the ground, holding her waist with a painful expression. At this moment, Lin Rei stopped at the entrance and looked at this scene helplessly. Perhaps he was in a hurry just now, but he did not see the woman coming out of the restaurant.
As a result, the two of them bumped into each other.
Of course, facing Lin Rei, the woman was the only one who could be thrown to the ground.
Are you okay?
He scratched his head awkwardly and asked in a gentle tone.
What's wrong with you? Can't you see that my young miss is in pain? Really, don't you look when you're walking? A protective voice sounded from the side.
A little girl dressed like a servant squeezed out of the crowd and came in front of the woman who had fallen to the ground.
She reached out and helped her up. Young mistress, are you all right? While supporting her, the lass asked anxiously with an anxious look on her face. I'm fine.
Let this young master go.
After all, I was in a hurry just now. Don't blame him. A weak voice that made people want to protect her sounded in Lin Rei's ears. How can that be? Hearing the woman's words, the little girl became anxious, as if she was going to lose out in this matter. Young miss, you don't feel it now, but what if something happens? What will we do? Even my little life is not enough to pay for it. Why don't we go and take a look? Aya, how can that be? I already said that there's no need. Let him go. At the side, Lin Rei was speechless when he saw the two of them talking like this. Lin Rei's heart was filled with speechlessness. Lin Rei, hurry up and settle it. I'm hungry. Xueling Tian's voice sounded in Lin Rei's mind. Got it. He raised his head and saw that the two girls were still insisting on their opinions. He rolled his eyes and said, the two of you, time is limited. Since the two of you have your own opinions, why don't you let me see if this young miss is fine? After all, this matter is my fault. All right, I've been studying medicine recently. If you believe me. Of course, if you don't believe me, you can wait for me to finish my meal and accompany the two of you to a place you believe in. How about it? Lin Rei's words attracted the attention of the two girls. However, the little girl immediately rejected Lin Rei's words. No, how can my young miss be touched by you? All right, since that's the case, I'll go check after I finish my meal. After saying that, he went to an empty table and sat down, minding his own business and ignoring the aggressive little girl. Chapter 1056. Hey, how can you be like this? Do you know who my young miss is? Did you hear me? I'm talking to you. Are you listening? Bastard, look here. Do you know that you're being very rude? Hey, you. In an instant, the little girl's aggressiveness caused the atmosphere to become extremely awkward. The atmosphere slowly turned cold. When the surrounding people who had been eating heard the little girl's unreasonable behavior, they all surrounded Linley, the little girl, and the others. They all looked at them with similar expressions on their faces. However, the crowd did not notice that the originally calm Lin Rei's expression slowly darkened. Traces of killing intent appeared around his body. Hey, did you hear me? I'm talking to you. The little girl's small mouth did not stop moving. The little girl's voice was too noisy. She talked too much. If you say another word, I'll kill you. Not only you, but your young miss as well. Do you want to try? Xiao. Just as Lin Rei finished speaking, a blood-red figure flashed past. Of course, to some powerful martial cultivators, this was a red light. However, to some ordinary people who did not cultivate, it was nothing. Coincidentally, the little girl was a cultivator. Her cultivation was quite strong. She was already a martial grandmaster. Lin Rei could not help but be surprised. Of course, he was only surprised. After all, at her age, he had seen many people who were stronger than her. For example, his eldest disciple, Lin Wanyu, had already reached the martial saint realm when she was his age. Compared to this world, her cultivation should be at the martial saint realm. However, it had to be said that this little girl was quite beautiful. Her appearance did not lose to the holy maidens of the sacred grounds in the divine realm. However, this little girl was crazy. Xiao Jing, shut up. A soft shout came from the girl who was called Young Mississippi. Her expression was much colder than before. Others might not know, but she was very clear. At this moment, there was a mouth of sharp teeth behind her neck. She could feel the aura of death very deeply. So, young miss, shut up. Although she usually doted on the little girl, at this moment, she understood that what the other party said was true. Moreover, the man in front of her was very powerful, so powerful that it made her tremble. Therefore, he did not dare to be careless in the slightest. When the little lass heard her master's angry roar, she couldn't hide the grievance on her face. Tears flowed out of her eyes and she was covered in tears. Heh! You're not bad. Lin Rei was very satisfied with the girl's understanding of the situation. Although he understood that this was under the threat of the blood spirit sky, at least they were no longer arguing. Thank you, she, who came from a large family, pretended to be calm as she saluted Lin Rei and stood to the side, not daring to say anything. Heh! Towards the girl's actions, Linley simply laughed. Turning his head to look at the waiter, he called out, "Bring out all of your restaurant's signature dishes,
as well as your best wine.
Do you understand?
I understand. In the crowd, when the waiter heard Lin Rei's words, he nodded in a daze and turned to leave. As a member of the restaurant, he was very alert and well-informed. He was very clear about the girl's identity. Yu Ling, the beloved daughter of the Void Chant City's city lord. Now, Yu Ling didn't dare to complain in front of Lin Rei. He was just an ant that no one would remember even if he was thrown into a crowd. Who would care about him? Therefore, their attitude towards Linley had undergone a 180-degree change. If they had known that Linley's cultivation was strong before, they probably wouldn't have foolishly watched the show from the sidelines. Why are you still here? His murderous aura instantly rose and locked onto everyone present. Yu Ling was no exception. PFFF. Sounds of people vomiting blood resounded in the hall. Except for some people with decent cultivation, the rest of the ordinary people ended up vomiting blood. At this moment, everyone understood the strength of the man in front of them. They didn't dare to watch anymore. After bowing and apologizing to Lin Rei, they returned to their seats and lowered their heads to eat obediently. As for the bloodstains on the ground, the restaurant owner and waiter cleaned it up very obediently. It was as if they were afraid that this kind of environment would affect this terrifying man. If Lin Rei was unhappy, he would kill everyone here. The loss would outweigh the gain. In the hearts of the crowd, the man in front of them was the devil. He could even say that he wanted to kill a beautiful girl. Then, he wouldn't be merciful to men like them. Lin Rei was very satisfied with the crowd's actions. At this time, the wine was served. Lin Rei loved wine very much. His eyes lit up as he picked up the wine jug and took a sip. Gulp! The wine entered his throat and a spicy feeling appeared in his chest. Lin Rei liked this feeling very much. Tisk tisk. If only the system was by my side, the thousands of years old Maotai wine would be much better than this. Thinking about the Maotai wine he stored, he couldn't help but gulp. He couldn't help but want to taste it. On the side, Yu Ling stood there in a daze. Her appearance was very stiff. Even her expression didn't change. Cold sweat constantly overflowed from her forehead and slid down her cheeks. She looked very embarrassed. However, it had to be said that no matter how embarrassed Yu Ling was, it couldn't hide her appearance. Refreshing, dong. The wine jug was placed on the table. The word refreshing came out from Lin Rei's mouth. His face was filled with a relaxed smile. Come back. Don't scare the little girl. Lin Rei suddenly said. Whoosh! The red light appeared again. At this time, a small snake appeared on the table in front of Lin Rei. It looked at Yu Ling and Yu Ling with a fierce look. It had a vigilant look. You don't have to be so vigilant. The cultivation of the two of them combined is probably not enough to look at. Come, drink, Lin Rei said to himself. Without waiting for Xueqingtian's response, he took the wine jug and poured it on top of Xueqingtian's head. As he spoke, the wine jug landed on top of Xueqingtian's head. What was Yu Ling looking at this scene? What was he doing? Feeding wine to a snake? And an even more surprising scene appeared. Just as the wine was about to land on Xueqingtian's head, the little snake suddenly raised its head and opened its mouth to drink all the wine that Lin Rei poured into it. Burp. After drinking the wine, a burp came from the little snake's mouth. This scene was too human. It was as if the little snake was not a snake, but a person. A person with emotions and thoughts. Her eyes were wide open. Her expression was filled with disbelief as she pointed at the little snake. She stammered, looking very cute. Chapter 1057. Be quiet. If you're hungry, come over and eat. But remember, don't talk. My temper isn't very good, especially when I'm enjoying good food. If you don't want to die, be quiet and obedient. It won't be hard for me to get impatient. Can you do that? Lin Rei's words reached Yu Ling's ears. Yu Ling's entire body trembled. She nodded blankly, not daring to make a sound. She obediently went to the opposite side of Lin Rei and sat down. She lowered her head, not daring to look at Lin Rei or the blood spirit sky on the table. As for the little girl beside Yu Ling, she understood at this moment and didn't dare to speak. Behind Yu Ling, she also lowered her head and didn't dare to speak. At the entrance of the Divine Valley, Lu Chongtian's group had arrived. After a month,
They had finally arrived at the place of his dreams. Originally, with Lu Chongtian's speed, it would take at most 7 or 8 days to reach the Divine Valley. But because Hua Yun was with him, they had to stop and walk, so a month's time was wasted. Everyone stopped at the entrance of the Divine Valley. Lu Chongtian looked at Hua Yun with a nervous expression. That, Grand Mistress, this is the entrance to the Divine Valley.
Oh, this is it?
She looked at Lu Chongtian, then at the entrance of the valley in front of them. Her face was full of surprise. She was unfamiliar with the Divine Valley. After all, she had never been here before. But according to rumors, the Divine Valley was an extremely dangerous place. There was the risk of death at any time in the Divine Valley.
But the entrance of the Divine Valley in front of them was no different from the entrance of an ordinary valley.
Hua Yun didn't expect this. And yes. As if he understood Hua Yun's thoughts, Lu Chongtian smiled. This is the Divine Valley, the one in the rumors. But it's not as dangerous as the rumors say. There are many powerful monsters inside. As long as you're careful, you should be fine. Moreover, there are many aged spiritual herbs and spiritual herbs inside. The spiritual qi inside is much stronger than that of the outside world. Spiritual qi. Hua Yun was a little confused about the unfamiliar word spiritual energy. After all, she knew about elemental energy, but she didn't know what spiritual energy was.
This spirit qi.
Lu Chongtian was stumped by Hua Yun's question. Although he knew about spirit qi, he didn't know what spirit qi meant. As for the spirit qi that he spoke of, he had only heard it from Lin Rei. Perhaps it was because they had been together for a long time that he would speak of spirit qi whenever he spoke. After hemming and hawing for a long time, he finally sighed helplessly. You should ask my master about this matter regarding spiritual energy. He will explain it clearly to you. Hua Yun. Hua Yun was speechless at Lu Chongtian's explanation. She rolled her eyes and ignored him. She turned her head away and didn't say anything. Haha. Lu Chongtian couldn't do anything about Hua Yun's attitude. If the person standing in front of him wasn't Hua Yun, his master's mother, Lu Chongtian would have already attacked. Grand Mistress, let's go. Just as Lu Chongtian was about to lead everyone into the Divine Valley, a very protruding voice sounded. Senior, this side seems to be for you?
HM? For me.
Turning his head to look at the person who spoke, Lu Chongtian frowned and walked over. As he spoke, he looked at the direction the person was pointing at. A few lines of words entered his eyes. From the words, he could feel a domineering aura. Chongtian, I'm going out to travel for a period of time. It might be a year or 10 years. If you come back during this time, you can enter the Divine Valley to cultivate. I left a few things for you at the place where we stayed before.
If you break through to the martial god realm during this period of time, remember, you must cultivate according to the cultivation method I left for you the moment you break through to the martial god realm.
I hope that the next time we meet, I'll see a cultivator and not a martial cultivator. Do you understand? Reading the contents that Lin Rei left for him, Lu Chongtian was excited. He had wanted to become a cultivator like Lin Rei for a long time. However, Lin Rei always said that the time wasn't right. He didn't expect that now. However, excitement was one thing. As he continued reading, his original excitement disappeared and was replaced by cold fear. This is the opportunity I'm giving you. Take it. If you haven't broken through to the martial god realm and transformed into a nascent soul by the next time we meet, I'll throw you into the depths of the Divine Valley and make you work with those beasts day and night. Oh, by the way, I'll be concocting a type of aphrodisiac for the beasts. I hope you can withstand it when the time comes. For a moment, Lu Chongtian ignored Hua Yun and said angrily, F***CK, Master, aren't you trying to screw me over?
When he read the next sentence, for some reason, his chrysanthemum suddenly tightened, and a strange chill swept through his body.
Who wrote this? How cruel. At this moment, a young man with a bad brain laughed out loud, as if he didn't see Lu Chongtian's dark face. Slap. The laughter was completely replaced by the sound of a slap. You little bastard. Do you not want to live anymore? You even dare to interfere with Senior's matters. Do you think Senior is someone you can make fun of? Lu Chongtian. Lu Chongtian was really anxious about Long Ming and the others. Originally, others didn't know, but now that he said it, even if they didn't want to know, they had no choice. Lu Chongtian felt very helpless about them. He originally wanted to teach them a lesson, but now he couldn't. What now? This thought appeared in Lu Chongtian's mind. That's right, what now? Lin Rui wasn't here. How was he going to deal with the Guangyun Empire? This matter couldn't wait. If the people in the Guangyun Empire knew that something had happened here, would they still send people over? If he entered the Divine Valley to cultivate and ignored everything else, then, wouldn't the Lin family be in danger? Senior, what should we do now? Enter the Divine Valley to cultivate, go to the Guangyun Empire, or return to Liaoqing? Long Ming couldn't help but ask. In his heart, he wanted to go back the most. As for the Guangyun Empire? Why would he want to go back? Guangyun Empire? Hearing Long Ming's reminder, Lu Chongtian, who was originally full of doubts, suddenly brightened up. That's right, the Guangyun Empire. Although they aren't a match for us, it won't be easy for them to catch me. Besides, if he didn't restrain them, they might find the Lin family again. At that time, the gains wouldn't make up for the losses. Lu Chongtian's style of doing things was to act immediately. He didn't like to drag things out. Chapter 1058. Since he had made up his mind, Lu Chongtian did not hesitate. However, when he thought of the things that Lin Rui had left for him, his heart burned with passion. He turned his head to Huayun and said, "Grand Mistress, please wait for me for a while. I must go with the things that Master left for me. Please bear with me." Lu Chongtian was negotiating. He did not dare to show any disrespect to Huayun. He did not even dare to speak loudly. As for Lu Chongtian's request, Huayun nodded and agreed without hesitation. "Go ahead. I'll wait for you here." "Oh, okay. I'll be back soon." As he spoke, he turned his head to look at Long Ming and the others. Long Ming was the one who worried him the most. After all, Long Ming was a true martial king expert. Huayun could not defeat him. He did not trust Long Ming's character. After all, he was here to destroy the Lin family. He was afraid that once he left, Long Ming would take the opportunity to kidnap Huayun. At that time, not only Long Ming, but even he would not be able to escape from Lin Rui's hands. "You wait here while I'm away. I don't care if you believe me or not. If you dare to touch a single finger of hers, or even kidnap her, then not only your Long family, but even the power behind you will only end up dead. Of course you can choose not to believe me. Otherwise you can try. However, I'm looking forward to that scene." Tisk, as he spoke, a tyrannical aura emerged from Lu Chongtian's body. "I'm really looking forward to it." Blood and the Azura battlefield complement each other. When Lu Chongtian's words fell into the ears of Long Ming and the others, it was undoubtedly the Grim Reaper waving at them. He did not dare. Just based on the information he had heard along the way, he could tell that Lu Chongtian's master seemed to be very powerful. He was even more powerful than the martial god. He could not afford to offend such a powerful existence. Even the Long family could not afford to offend him. As for the power behind him, he believed that once this happened, they would run away faster than a rabbit. As for him, he would become a useless chess piece of the opponent's phone. So, he listened carefully to Lu Chongtian's warning. Don't worry, I won't, even if it's for my own life." He nodded heavily and promised. However, before Lu Chongtian spoke, he did consider kidnapping Huayun, but now, it was possible to play a borderline game, but the prerequisite was that you had to have the ability to play a borderline game. Otherwise, playing a borderline game was just courting death. "Well, it's good that you understand." He nodded. Looking at the fear in Long Ming's eyes, he understood that his words had worked. Now, it was time for him to leave. "Grand Mistress, I'm leaving. Please be careful." Before leaving, Lu Chongtian didn't forget to remind Huayun. After all, one had to be wary of others. Anything was possible. What if Long Ming was desperate enough to kidnap Huayun? "Well, don't worry." Huayun nodded. She wasn't that stupid. After all, she had been on the battlefield before, and she knew that people's hearts were sinister. "Okay." After everything was settled, Lu Chongtian leaped up with peace of mind. He instantly executed the butterfly steps to the extreme.
His entire body turned into an afterimage and disappeared from the entrance of the Divine Valley. Heavens! Who on earth is this person? He's so young, but his cultivation level is so astonishing. Looking at Lu Chongtian's departing figure, he really couldn't imagine how someone younger than him could have such a shocking cultivation level. What made it even more difficult for him to imagine, and even more curious, was what level of cultivation the person who was Lu Chongtian's master was at. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was eating in Xueqi City, didn't know that Lu Chongtian wasn't going back. Moreover, he had brought his mother with him. If he knew, Lin Rei probably wouldn't be able to sit still right now. In a restaurant in Xueqi City, Lin Rei touched his mouth, took a sip of wine, and burped. A satisfied smile appeared on his face. Leaning back in his chair, he reached out and touched his full stomach. His mood improved a lot. Are you full? Of course, he wasn't asking Yu Ling, but the blood dragon in front of her, Xueqi Tian. I'm full but, But what? Lin Rei was a little curious about Xueqi Tian's, but it's a little bad. It's not as good as what you make. Especially this wine. It's disgusting. As he said that, he stuck out his tongue with a look of disgust, as if he wanted to spit out the wine he had drunk. Pfft, ha ha, Lin Rei laughed. It was hard for him not to laugh at Xueqi Tian's words. What did he mean by especially this wine? Big brother, you've never drunk this wine before. A person who had never drunk wine wouldn't understand the beauty of this wine. Of course, Lin Rei didn't explain. After all, it was hard to explain. Some people loved it, while others hated it. It was just a personal preference. Stop laughing. Lin Li's smile caused Blood Lingtian's face to change. He then turned his head to look at Feather Spirit, who was seated next to him. He didn't have any good feelings towards this woman at all, especially that little girl who had been so chatty and aggressive earlier. If it were the same, perhaps she would have become his meal. Of course it was different now. Without Lin Rei's permission, he would eat her? What a joke. Lin Rei would kill him. What do you intend to do with this woman? Her. Upon hearing Xueqi Tian's words, Lin Rei looked up at Yu Ling. He was free to deal with this woman now. In response to Lin Rei's sudden gaze, Yu Ling's heart pounded non-stop. She was nervous and afraid. Her emotions were extremely complicated. You are sick. Yu Ling. The little girl was speechless. Xueqi Tian. Lin Rei's sudden words made the three of them speechless. What did he mean by sick? Of course, Lin Rei understood this sentence. After all, he was a pill refiner who had entered the Saint realm. From the first time he saw Yu Ling, he could tell that Yu Ling was indeed sick. Moreover, it wasn't a small illness. If it wasn't treated in time, she wouldn't be able to live past 25 years old. You are sick. Once again, Lin Rei looked at Yu Ling seriously. He didn't say it for no reason. Just treat it as compensation for bumping into her. Of course, it couldn't be guaranteed that he was good-looking. What do you mean? How is my young lady sick? You are really... The little girl couldn't help but speak up. But she regretted it immediately. She carefully looked up at Lin Rei's expression. When she saw that Lin Rei's expression didn't change, she felt relieved. Lin Rei didn't take the little girl's words to heart. After all, if it was him, he would say the same thing. You are really sick. Moreover, your illness won't let you live past 25 years old. It's up to you to believe it or not. This time, Lin Rei was very serious. When Yu Ling saw this scene, her heart trembled violently. She somewhat believed what he said. Chapter 1059. I can cure your illness. Yu Ling wanted to say something, but as soon as the words came out, it was as if they were blocked by something, making him unable to open his mouth. Seeing Yu Ling's hesitation, Lin Rei continued patiently. Your illness is very troublesome, and I happen to dislike troublesome things. If I hadn't bumped into you before, I'm afraid that even if you begged me, I wouldn't have helped you. As soon as these words came out, Yu Ling and the little girl's expressions changed, and their expressions turned ugly. However, Lin Rei's words were true. If it weren't for the previous cause, how could there be the present effect? If the group of people in the celestial realm knew about this, they would probably pay a huge price to buy this opportunity from Yu Ling. One must know that the power of a saint-grade pill was immeasurable. If one could obtain the pill to break through to the next realm, breaking through to the saint grade would be just around the corner.
What do you want? Yuling finally spoke. It's very simple. I'll cure your illness, but the prerequisite is that you provide the medicinal ingredients.
After all, I didn't bring anything with me.
Okay. Yuling agreed without hesitation.
Although she wasn't sure if she was really sick, she couldn't help but believe the man in front of her when she saw how serious he was.
Okay.
Lin Rei nodded, and then continued. Your illness is a congenital disease, so the medicinal ingredients you need are very rare. I believe that with your family's status in Void Chant City, you should be able to find them. As he spoke, Lin Rei took out a piece of paper from nowhere and raised his hand to write on it. Puffed! A burst of laughter entered the ears of everyone present, especially the blood dragon Xueqi. He was very familiar with this laughter. Wasn't this the little girl who was chattering non-stop just now? He admired the little girl very much. After all, if this happened to him, he wouldn't dare to laugh out loud. Although Lin Rei's strength was not bad, the cultivation of the 9 azure dragons was not to be trifled with.
You're awesome.
Xueqi nodded to the little girl, and then lay on the table without even lifting his eyelids.
Sleepiness engulfed him. Let's sleep for a while. It seems Lin Rei still needs a while to finish. Thinking this, he closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. Lin Rei was helpless at the blood spirit sky's behavior. It was King Ruin. All it knew was to eat and sleep and eat. It didn't dare to do anything. Even he couldn't afford to raise this guy. Sir, you don't have a pen. What's the use of writing on it?
Out of curiosity, Yuling couldn't help but ask. Her question was exactly what the little girl who laughed just now was thinking. This was also the reason why he laughed. You'll know whether it's useful or not soon enough. Without raising his head, Zhang Xian continued moving his fingers gracefully, creating a pleasing sight. Time passed bit by bit. After a short minute, Lin Li's hands paused. He handed the paper over to Yuling, and then with a wave of his hand, words appeared on the previously blank paper. The flamboyant handwriting was the work of a master. The appearance of this scene stunned Yuling. She clearly didn't see any pen in Lin Rei's hand, but now... Okay, now's not the time to be shocked. You have to find everything on the paper for me. Otherwise, your illness can't be cured. Believe me, I'm the only one who can cure your illness. Others, oh no, I should say that in the entire Destiny realm, I'm the only one who can see that you're sick. Others? Heh. A laugh replaced the meaning he wanted to express. Lin Rei wasn't exaggerating, but telling the truth. And sir, don't worry. He reached out and picked up the paper on the table. His entire body was stunned because the paper felt as if there was nothing there. It was very thin. Okay, you can go now. If you find the herbs on the paper, you can come here to find me. Remember, I'll only give you 3 days. If you don't come in 3 days, I'll leave this place. As for whether you can find me in the future, that's another story. Yes, I'll go now. Hearing this, Yuling didn't care about the thickness of the paper. Her entire body tensed up, and she rushed out with her cultivation. The little girl's cultivation wasn't as good as Yuling's, but she quickly disappeared from Lin Rei's sight. Sigh. I hope you can find it, but... When he thought of one of the herbs in the prescription, Lin Rei's face showed a bitter smile. Tian Xingzi, he often saw this herb in the immortal realm, but he couldn't guarantee it in the destiny realm. After all, it was convenient in the immortal realm. He wasn't sure if it was here. He let out a long sigh. As for Yuling's illness, he hid it. Innate meridians. If he was in the immortal realm, he might be able to do something if he was at his peak. But now, his cultivation was only so little. To completely cure her innate meridians, there was no doubt that it was a dream. But if it was suppressed, it might be possible. For example, the prescription just now could temporarily suppress the innate meridians. Although the suppression time was a little short, it could still let her live a peaceful life. Thinking of this, he lowered his head and looked at the sleeping Xueqi. His whole body felt unwell. You bastard, I was busy, but you actually fell asleep. With that thought in mind, he slapped Xueqi on the head. Bang! A loud sound rang out. The sound was so loud that it attracted the attention of the surrounding people. Ah! A miserable cry rang out in Lin Rei's mind. Lin Rei ignored the surrounding people's gazes. Looking at Xueqi Tian, his face became uglier and uglier. Did you sleep well? Do you want me to get Song Long to give you a massage? This, Blood Ling Tian, who had been screaming in pain, suddenly stopped. He sat there quietly on the table, staring at Linley with his two watery little eyes. He had a look on his face that said, "I know I was wrong." Humph! With a cold snort she stood up.
I'll let it go this time. Next time, see if I don't kill you. I haven't eaten the flesh of a blood flood dragon yet.
If you don't mind, I don't. Before Lin Rei could finish his words, Xueqi Tian directly refused. I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again. I promise that before you sleep, I won't sleep. As she spoke, she raised her little tail as if she was swearing an oath. She looked very cute. Ignoring Xueqi Tian, she went to the counter and asked the owner for a room. Then, she walked towards her room. At this moment, in the Void Chant City's City Lord's house, Yu Ling received the medicine and rushed back home. She had no choice but to follow. Although she was still far away from her 20s, but who would have a knife hanging on her neck that could take her life at any time? Especially for her, who lived like a princess, she was even more unwilling to die.
Chapter 1060.
Yu family. Yu Ling went to find her father as soon as she returned home. As the city lord, he was the only one who could mobilize the full force of the family. In the main hall of the city lord's mansion, Yu Tiancheng listened to his daughter Yu Ling narrate the entire process of her meeting with Lin Rei.
Yu Tiancheng's expression turned gloomy as fear flashed in his eyes. Yes, fear.
The fear of the unknown power. From the moment he heard that a single glance was enough to make everyone vomit blood, he didn't have the slightest ability to do such a thing. Father, do you think what that person said is true?
Yu Ling asked. Until now, she still didn't believe it. It should be true. After all, there is no need for such an existence to lie to you, right? Hearing this, Yu Ling's heart skipped a beat as her face turned pale. Then what should we do? I have never heard of these herbs before.
They aren't even in some ancient books. As for these medicines, she had heard of most of them, but she had never even heard of some of them, let alone seen them. Oh, hearing his daughter's words, Yu Tiancheng was startled.
Bring them over for me to take a look. I will send someone to pass down the order.
Within 3 days, I will definitely find all of these herbs. That's great, that's great. Receiving her father's affirmation, Yu Ling revealed a smile on her face. However, she frowned slightly with a trace of worry hidden within.
Seeing this scene, Yu Tiancheng's heart tightened. He loved this daughter the most in his life. No matter what she wanted, as long as he could do it, he would definitely get it for her. Even if he couldn't do it, he would do his best. Although the end result wasn't satisfactory, this fatherly love was still there. All right, you can leave first. Have a good rest for the next few days. I will invite a very, very good pharmacist over later. Although that person has confirmed it, we still have to take a look. If we still can't figure it out, we will follow that person's method.
And I understand, father. Yu Ling understood that her father was doing this because he was afraid of encountering a swindler. This was also the problem she was worried about. Go. In the restaurant, Lin Rei didn't know that the father and daughter of the Yu family were still full of doubts about his diagnosis.
Lin Rei didn't know about this.
Of course, even if he knew, it wouldn't matter. After all, he wouldn't see them again in the future. In the room, Lin Rei sat cross-legged on the bed. The spiritual energy within a radius of 10,000 miles was under the control of Lin Rei, slowly rushing into his body. The instant his dried-up meridians felt the spiritual energy, it was as if he had encountered sweet dew after a long time. His body became very smooth. If not for Lin Rei restraining himself, he might have already moaned out loud. At the side, Xueqi Tian looked at his master in disdain.
Uf***ker. If I were to cultivate with you, what the F***ck would I cultivate for? Every time you cultivate, it's the same. You devour all the surrounding spiritual energy in an instant. I really don't know what kind of thing you are. Your cultivation technique is actually so powerful. Sensing that there was no trace of spirit chi left in the surroundings,
Xueqi felt extremely displeased. Why don't I snatch some from him? As soon as this thought appeared, he immediately suppressed it.
No. No way. If I do that, it'll be tantamount to snatching food from the tiger's mouth. Who knows, I might not even get the spiritual energy and end up being beaten up by this fellow. As he thought about it, his body trembled.
He couldn't help but lower his head helplessly. He went to a corner of the bed and stopped thinking about it. Closing his eyes, he began to comprehend the inherited memories in his mind. Without spiritual energy, the only thing he could cultivate was the inheritance in his mind.
Time passed quickly. The red sun in the sky gradually set. Not only did it disappear, but it was also replaced by dark clouds. The entire sky turned dark. At night, a chill swept through every part of the body on the streets. For some reason, the night in Void Chant City was particularly strange.
Wang.
A vibration came from his clothes. Lin Rei, who was cultivating, thought that it was an illusion, so he ignored it.
Although he couldn't return to the God world through cultivation, as a Saint Realm Array Master, as long as his cultivation reached the required level, returning to the Holy World would be a piece of cake.
Wang. Another 2 vibrations came from his clothes. This time, Lin Rei felt it clearly. He didn't hesitate at all. What's going on? He was puzzled. His tightly shut eyes suddenly opened. 2 rays of light flashed through his eyes. His consciousness didn't feel sleepy at all. Those vibrations just now were. Thinking about it, he lowered his head and looked at his clothes with doubt. He saw a palm-sized golden coffin lying there quietly. It was as if nothing had happened. There were no vibrations like before. Holy shit! The strange feeling disappeared. Lin Rei was still confused.
However, he was sure that the vibrations came from his clothes.
At this moment, there was only the small golden coffin in his clothes. Thinking of this, an idea appeared in his mind. He closed his eyes again and circulated his cultivation. Following that, a miraculous scene appeared again.
Wang.
The vibrations came again. This time, Lin Rei was very sure that the vibrations came from the small golden coffin. Hey, little thing. Watch how I catch you. As he spoke, he released his divine sense. As he released it, he circulated his cultivation technique. He was afraid that if his cultivation technique was interrupted, the vibrations would disappear again.
Wang.
The vibrations kept coming.
At this moment, Lin Rei was sure that the vibrations of the small golden coffin were indeed related to his cultivation technique.
When the small golden coffin was vibrating, Lin Rei's divine sense had already covered the small golden coffin. In his mind, the image of the small golden coffin appeared. What is this thing? It can actually resonate with my chaotic heaven scripture. Could it be, although there was a kind of uncertainty, this uncertainty attracted Lin Rei's curiosity. He wanted to know what this thing was. His cultivation technique was given to him by the system. Now that he encountered something that resonated with his cultivation technique in this plane, how could Lin Rei not be curious? His cultivation technique was constantly circulating. His divine sense was like air, seamlessly probing the small golden coffin to see if there would be any changes when it vibrated. Wang. The vibrations continued. As for Lin Rei's divine sense, although everyone couldn't retreat, the recovery of divine sense was much more amazing than cultivation. Looking at the changes in the small golden coffin's vibrations, finally, an opportunity appeared. When the small golden coffin vibrated, a crack would appear in one of the 4 corners. What made the chubby Linley even more pleasantly surprised was that when the small coffin shook and cracked, an astonishing amount of spiritual energy would rush out of the coffin. However, when the crack closed, the spiritual energy would be absorbed back into the coffin. Therefore, during this period of time, Linley did not feel any spiritual energy at all. Now it seemed that this might be the reason. Chapter 1061. What exactly are you? He was very puzzled, but the thing that made Linley happy was that he no longer needed to worry about the spiritual energy of heaven and earth that he had been worrying about. Although the vibration came from the cultivation method, as long as he continued to operate the cultivation method, the little golden coffin would continue to vibrate. Devouring heaven art, now is the time to experience your value. Although the vibration and the speed of the fusion were very fast, as long as he had the devouring heaven art, it wouldn't be a problem. Once he thought about it, He immediately acted. The cultivation technique never stopped circulating, and the sound of the vibration never stopped. Buzz buzz, who? Just as the little golden coffin vibrated twice, a crack suddenly appeared in the coffin. In Lin Rei's consciousness, the crack really split open. Regarding this, Lin Rei didn't hesitate at all. He instantly used the devouring heaven art, and a devouring force appeared around the small golden coffin. Suddenly, a scene that made Lin Rei excited appeared. The overflowing spiritual energy appeared again, and it was being pulled out by his devouring heaven art. If this spiritual energy is enough to support my cultivation until the heavenly tribulation, then as long as I don't use the teleportation array, I hope I can return to the divine world faster. Of course, as soon as this idea appeared in Linley's mind, he felt that it was a bit unrealistic. Linley took a quick look at this place. This should be the very edge of the entire system. If he wanted to go back, he would need more than 100 years. Hiss! Lin Rei sucked in a breath of cold air, and a satisfied expression appeared on Lin Rei's face. In Lin Rei's eyes, his withered meridians and his Dan palace were being nourished by a large amount of water. This feeling was very good, very good. Come, let's do this. Lin Rei didn't reject the spiritual energy. As for the fact that his cultivation was too fast, he was afraid that his cultivation realm would be unstable. Haha, sorry, this didn't exist for Lin Rei. Lin Rei's cultivation realm had already reached the Saint realm. So, as long as there was enough spiritual energy to support Lin Rei's cultivation, it wouldn't be a problem for him to instantly reach the Earth Immortal realm. Were they afraid of the appearance of their inner demons? What a joke! How could that be possible? As long as it wasn't a special existence, it was impossible for the primal chaos heavenly scripture to produce inner demons. Unless one broke through to that level, otherwise, pop. The sound of a bubble bursting resounded from Lin Rei's body. Suddenly, a terrifying aura crazily gushed out from Lin Rei's body. Wang. Perhaps it was because he had improved his cultivation, or perhaps it was because he was happy, or perhaps it was because he had a chance to go back. Lin Rei didn't restrain himself after he broke through. With him as the center, the pressure brought by the breakthrough instantly pressed down on the entire restaurant. Bam bam. Everyone in the restaurant, be it ordinary people or martial cultivators, had been enjoying their meal. However, before they knew it, a terrifying pressure appeared and pressed them to the ground, making them unable to move. Ordinary people didn't know what was going on, but martial cultivators were very clear that this was an aura. Of course, in the eyes of martial cultivators, this was the aura of an expert, but in Lin Rei's eyes, it was indeed a pressure. To explain, coercion was not the same as aura. It was just that the two had the same function. In fact, it could also be said that coercion was an advanced version of aura. Expert, this restaurant definitely has an expert. His friend. He rolled his eyes at his friend. What's going on? Why is it like this? I can't get up. Mom. I'm scared woo-woo. At this moment, the entire restaurant was filled with crying, shock, surprise, doubt, fear, and all kinds of expressions. Of course, Lin Rei didn't know about any of these. At this moment, Lin Rei was immersed in the excitement of breaking through. Whew! A gust of wind suddenly appeared out of nowhere next to Linley. Because the items in the room were unable to withstand the force of the gust of wind, everything in the room was in complete disarray, as though it had just been plundered by a thief. Early stage of Anidia. His red lips moved slightly as he said his current realm. His closed eyes opened and a golden light flashed past. Lowering his head, he raised his hand and clenched his fist. A familiar energy flowed through his body. Noon. I've finally returned to Anidia. It's really not easy. If these words were heard by the people of the Xuanzong sect in the divine world, they would probably think that there was something wrong with his head. After all, in the eyes of the Xuanzong sect, Lin Rei was a godlike existence. No matter what time it was, Lin Rei was the pillar in the hearts of the people of the Xuanzong sect. However, they didn't know that the pillar in their hearts was now living such a miserable life. Crack crack. Lin Rei didn't continue to cultivate. Although it wouldn't create an inner demon, and it wouldn't cause instability in his realm due to his fast cultivation speed. After all, more haste, less speed. Moreover, he could feel that the spiritual energy gushing out from the crack seemed to be a little weaker. Lin Rei was very afraid of this phenomenon. He was afraid that the spiritual energy would suddenly disappear one day. When he got up,
a bone-rattling sound that made his whole body go numb was heard. After moving his body for a long time, he felt that his body was much more relaxed than before. He couldn't help but smile. If I can continue like this, I believe that breaking through to the divine realm and even recovering to my peak won't be a problem. Of course, thinking about it was beautiful, but reality was indeed cruel. In his previous life, his physical body was so strong that even he had a headache. Now, although this physical body wasn't indestructible, he would be thankful if he didn't break it in battle. Looking up, Lin Rei saw the dark winter outside the window. He was stunned. So I've been cultivating for such a long time. As the saying goes, time flies when cultivating in the mountains. As a cultivator, he should have been used to this situation for a long time. However, after becoming an ordinary person, he didn't know why he felt a little jealous when he saw time passing so quickly. Breakthrough. At this moment, the voice of the blood spirit sky sounded in Lin Rei's mind. There was a tremor in the voice. It wasn't just fear. Breakthrough. When are we leaving? I'm tired of staying here. I want to change places. The blood spirit sky was indeed tired of staying here. After all, he had always lived in the mountains. Now that he had suddenly come to a city to rest, he was more or less not used to it. Lin Rei nodded helplessly. 2 or 3 days. After these 2 or 3 days, we'll leave. When the time comes, I'll take you wherever you want to go. What do you think? All right, that's what you said. The blood spirit sky was very serious about Lin Rei's promise. Haha, all right, hurry up and cultivate. He smiled and waved his hand to dismiss the blood spirit sky. Chapter 1062. Time passed bit by bit. In these 3 days, Lin Rei had been cultivating every day. After all, he had a source of spiritual energy. After 3 days of cultivation and observation of the little golden coffin, he discovered something. Whenever the spiritual energy was about to dry up, he would stop cultivating and wait until the next day to recover. Lin Rei was excited about this. After all, the spiritual energy wouldn't disappear along with his cultivation. Just this point alone was enough to make him excited. Today was the appointed time between him and Yu Ling. Today, as long as Yu Ling didn't appear or didn't collect the herbs, he wouldn't stay here for even a minute. He would directly leave with Xueqi Tian. As a former saint-level alchemist, how could he not care about his reputation? If he had to wait in the divine world to refine a pill for someone, the threshold would be crowded. After waking up from his training, the nearby blood spirit sky woke up as well. Perhaps because it had sensed Lin Li's presence, it had woken up as well. Awake. Xueqi Tian was already used to Lin Rei's indifferent question. Today is the 3rd day. If you don't come today, I know. If you don't come today, we will leave. Lin Rei promised. Xueqi Tian nodded and then closed his eyes again. It was unknown if he was cultivating or not. Seeing Xueqi Tian like this, Lin Rei didn't pay attention to him. He got up, patted his wrinkled clothes, opened the door and walked out. Early in the morning, it was the time for some people to come out and do some activities. For example, peddlers, or beggars. No matter where one was, beggars would always exist. Even in a world where there was no war, beggars would still appear, let alone in a place like the Destiny world where there was still a monarch system. At this time, it was the time for them to come out and look for food. Because every morning, there would be some people who would throw away some rotten leaves or leftovers from the day before. A 7 or 8-year-old boy, dressed in tattered clothes and emitting a strange smell, had come in from who knows where, and was currently in the kitchen of the restaurant Lin Li was in. At this moment, there was no one in the kitchen, but the table was already filled with food. Of course, it was not hot, but leftovers from yesterday. There was everything: chicken, duck, fish, and even some demonic beast meat. Looking at these things, the little boy couldn't help but reach out and grab a chicken leg and stuff it into his mouth. No way. Just as the drumstick was about to reach his mouth, the oil on the drumstick seeped into the boy's lips. But at that moment, the boy stopped. My little sister is still waiting at home, Looking at the dishes on the table, the little boy's expression became firm. He took out a particularly clean piece of white cloth that did not match his clothes at all. Putting the white cloth on the table, he took a chicken and fish, and asked some cultivators to take some steamed buns from the steamer.
Then, he picked them up and stuffed them into his arms, turned around, and walked out. However, coincidentally or not, at this moment, Lin Rei wandered to the backyard for some reason. Just as Lin Rei continued to wander forward, a little boy in tattered clothes rushed out of a room with a flustered expression. His head kept sweeping around as if he was afraid of being discovered.
Hee, interesting.
The little boy's behavior attracted Lin Rei's attention. Although he didn't know why the little boy was like this, he knew that the little boy didn't live here by looking at his clothes. Perhaps it was because the little boy had piqued Linley's interest, but as soon as the little boy left, Linley, for some strange reason, followed him. In this regard, the little boy running forward didn't know that he had been followed. But fortunately, it was Lin Rei who followed. If it was the people in the restaurant, I'm afraid the little boy wouldn't be able to survive. Along the way, the little boy quietly looked for a remote place without people. Lin Rei understood that he was afraid of being discovered. Following all the way through the bustling place, Lin Rei didn't know how long the little boy ran for, but he finally came to a particularly barren place. It could be said that there was no vitality here. Even some weeds were unwilling to grow here. Looking at the dilapidated houses around as if no one had lived here for a long time, Lin Rei frowned, but he still followed. In a house with only one room left, the little boy hurriedly walked into the room and closed the door. It seemed that he was unwilling to be discovered by others. After entering the room, he still locked the door.
This little boy's mind is like this.
If it was an ordinary person, it was impossible to do this series of actions.
Without approaching, he instantly released his divine sense.
Suddenly, the situation in the room appeared in his mind. At this moment, in the room, a 3-year-old little girl was lying on the tattered bed. After the little boy came back, he made all the preparations and finally came to the little girl's side. Looking at the little girl who was still sleeping soundly on the bed, the little boy smiled. "You little girl, you don't know how to worry at your age." Looking at his little sister, the little boy smiled bitterly. "But it's good that you don't have to worry. This way, you can grow up happily and don't have to worry about those trivial things. As for those trivial things, leave them to me. I will protect you." Saying that, he reached out and patted his little sister's head. From his bosom, he took out the food he stole from the restaurant and placed it on the broken table. Creak, creak, creak. The moment the little boy placed the food on the table shook and made a hair-raising sound, as if it would collapse at any time. Meat. In the dream, the little girl smelled the aroma of meat and instinctively opened her eyes. Her sleepy eyes were very cute, but because of the tattered clothes, it was a little unique. However, it had to be said that the little boy cared about his little sister very much. Because the little girl's face was not as dirty as his, but very clean, surprisingly clean. Even her clothes were the same. Although they were tattered, they were very clean. In this regard, Lin Rei looked at the little boy in a new light, especially now. Dusty memories came to his mind. Shen Yuan, you were just like him back then. For the sake of your loved ones, you did not hesitate to be beaten, scolded, and even face the danger of death. Yes, we were born as humans and cultivate to become gods. Naturally, we should protect our friends and family, and not let them come to any harm. Isn't cultivation to have the ability to protect the people you want to protect? Isn't cultivation to pursue a higher realm? Isn't cultivation to break through the Tao and achieve eternity? Chapter 1063. Boom. A rumbling sound that only Lin Rei could hear was heard. At this moment, Lin Rei seemed to have merged with nature. His aura rose to its peak. He lowered his head and looked at the room where the boy was. A smile flashed across his face. I didn't expect to break through in this low-level plane. This was something that Lin Rei didn't expect. He didn't expect to break through in this place. In his opinion, as long as he could return to his peak, he would be very satisfied. In the void, a man was sitting cross-legged and cultivating. At this moment, the wind and clouds in the sky changed. This phenomenon attracted the man's attention. He opened his eyes and looked at the changing wind and clouds. His face was filled with shock. Great Tao? Who can comprehend the Great Tao here? He was shocked and in disbelief. He didn't expect to meet someone who could comprehend the Great Tao in this low-level plane every year. This won't do. I must take this person for my own use. Rua Lin Rei would definitely recognize this man if he saw him here. This man was the Tendo of the Destiny world. He was also the person who promised Lin Rei to hide and search for spirit chi. As he thought about this, he stood up and circulated his cultivation. His figure faded and disappeared in the void. In the barren land of Xueqi City, Lin Rei recovered from his joy. His consciousness continued to look at the room.
The little girl had already gotten up and came to the boy's side.
"Brother, can we eat now?" The little girl's voice was very pleasant. Coupled with her small appearance and short body, she looked very cute. "And eat quickly." Seeing his sister coming, the boy smiled. The previous worry was perfectly hidden in his heart. He smiled at her, took a drumstick, and handed it to the little girl. As for himself, he also picked up the staple food that looked like a steamed bun and ate it. In his opinion, the meat was left for his sister. After all, she was still growing and couldn't lack nutrition. As for himself, it didn't matter as long as he was full. Seeing the two of them like this, Lin Rei smiled. Then, he withdrew his consciousness and planned to leave.
Dong. Someone knocked on the door from behind, and a young man and 4 or 5 other people, all dressed like the boy, were knocking on the boy's door. They were all dirty and tattered.
"Brat, I know you're inside. Hurry up and open the door, or I'll smash it."
"Brother,
I'm scared." In the room, the little girl was originally very happy because there was food to eat. However, when she heard this voice, she was so scared that she curled up at the foot of the bed. She didn't even put the drumstick into her mouth. Instead, she just grabbed it. Her whole body couldn't stop trembling. She was so scared, bastard. Sensing his sister's strange behavior, a fierce glint flashed in the boy's eyes. He whispered softly. The thing he couldn't bear to see the most was his sister being scared and hurt, but now, touching a dragon's reverse scale meant certain death. His little sister was the boy's reverse scale. Now that his reverse scale had been touched, those people outside had already entered the boy's hate list. However, this hatred only flashed for a moment. It didn't disappear, but was perfectly hidden by the boy. He knew who was knocking on the door, and he also knew that he wasn't a match for the other party. Therefore, this was not the right time for this hatred to appear. It wasn't that he didn't want to take revenge, but it wasn't the right time. Now, this hatred could only be hidden deep in his heart. When the time was right, this hatred would be released like a wild beast. Lin Rei, who was about to turn and leave, heard the voice behind him. Then, the thought of leaving disappeared. He returned to the place where he was before and released his consciousness to check the room. The scene completely appeared in Lin Rei's mind. As for the young man who brought a group of people, looking at his aggressive appearance, he frowned slightly. He knew in his heart that he was looking for trouble. Chia. The door opened. The little boy looked at the 6 people at the door with a frightened expression. "Boss Xueqi. I don't know why you're here, slap." Before the boy could finish his words, a slap had already arrived in front of him. In the end, he could only watch as the slap landed on his face. The sound of the slap was very loud and clear. A burning sensation appeared on the boy's face. He didn't cry, but the hatred in his heart deepened. "Little bastard, I heard that you got something delicious." As he spoke, he nodded to the people at the side. The man who understood tacitly nodded. He walked around the boy and entered the room. The layout of the room was very simple, so the man saw the existence of the food at a glance. Not bad. Meat. In this barren place, meat was a rare thing. Some people couldn't even see meat for a year. Like the man, when he saw the meat, a green light flashed in his eyes. He reached out and picked up the meat and walked out of the door. The girl cared a lot about the meat. Seeing her food being taken away, the girl was unwilling. The fear from before disappeared under the influence of hunger. Don't touch my brother's things." Hearing the voice, the man stopped and looked at the little girl who was huddled at the foot of the bed. A trace of ruthlessness flashed in his eyes. "Oh, delicious meat." As he spoke, he stepped in front of the girl and reached out to snatch the meat. Then he slapped the girl. "Bastard." Lin Rei, who was observing, couldn't help but release his cultivation when he saw that the man was so ruthless. He didn't even let a 2 to 3 years old child go. He rushed into the room with his fastest speed and hugged the girl. Then he reached out and grabbed the man by the neck. "Little friend, you should know when to stop. Do you understand?" As he spoke, He used a bit of strength and killing intent flashed. He couldn't breathe properly and his heart was filled with fear. He didn't know how the person in front of him appeared and he didn't know how he was subdued. However, he knew that only martial cultivators could do this. Martial cultivators had a very high status in the Destiny world. Therefore, when they saw Lin Rei's fingerprints, they were stunned.
Looking at the man, Lin Rei carried him and the little girl out of the room.
You are. Outside the door, everyone was stunned when they saw Lin Rei choking the man and carrying the little girl. Only the little boy didn't care about Lin Rei when he saw his sister. He walked to Lin Rei's side and took his sister from Lin Rei's arms. Then, he looked around to see if his sister was injured or not. Phew, fortunately she's fine. After checking and seeing that his sister was fine, the little boy was relieved. At this moment, he thought of Lin Rei. He wasn't stupid. Although he didn't know how Lin Rei got in, he knew that he must have saved his sister. Thinking of this, he didn't say anything and bowed deeply to Lin Rei. Thank you for saving my sister. Chapter 1064. N. Lin Rei did not want to get too close to the boy. It was already good enough that he helped him. After all, there were too many people like him in this world. Lin Rei did not feel that he was a good person. He would not come over to such a person.
Turning his head to look at the man, the murderous intent in Lin Li's eyes grew more and more intense.
I'll let you off this time, but that doesn't mean I won't have such a good opportunity in the future.
After saying that, he waved his hand and the man in his hand was thrown 100 meters away.
As for whether he was alive or not, he did not care. He was already being merciful by letting them go. If he was alive, it meant that he was lucky. If he was dead, it meant that his luck was a bit bad. Seeing his brother being thrown away like a dead dog, the leader subconsciously wanted to say something.
However, when he thought of Lin Rei's existence, he forcefully swallowed the words he wanted to say.
Can I go now?
Lowering his head, he did not dare to look at Lin Rei.
His entire body was trembling and his face was pale. The pitiful leader was scared out of his wits. As for the subordinates behind the leader, they were so scared that they did not dare to say anything. They almost fainted. Scram. Do not appear here again. If I find you, your ending will be the same as that house.
Raising his hand, a surge of spirit energy rushed out.
Boom. As they spoke, they looked in the direction Lin Rei pointed. They saw that the house that was originally fine suddenly exploded. What shocked them even more was that what came down was not what they had imagined. Instead, the entire house turned into fine powder and scattered on the ground. We understand. We understand. His legs defecated. After promising, he turned around and wanted to leave. However, he was wrong. He was so scared that he had no strength left. Furthermore, he could feel a chill in his crotch. Needless to say, he knew that he was so scared that he lost control of his bladder. However, the man did not feel that he had lost face. At this moment, he only had one thought. That was to leave this place. Leave this demon's side and go to a place where he did not exist. Lin Rei did not pay any attention to this group of people.
He carried the little girl and turned around to return to the room.
As for the boy, he did not conceal his hatred. He glanced at the group of people and did not think much about it. He returned to the room. Dong. The little boy closed the door and tiptoed to his little sister's side.
He was also afraid of Lin Rei, but he knew that this terrifying man in front of him was not a threat to him and his little sister.
Thank you. Thank you for being willing to save my little sister.
If it wasn't for you, I'm afraid that today my little sister and I would have.
Speaking up to this point, sadness emerged. The little girl lowered her head, not knowing what to do. She knew that today's matter was very frightening, but for some reason, Lin Rei's existence made her feel very at ease. As for Lin Rei, he plopped down on the ground. He didn't mind the dirt at all. Looking at the two of them, he retracted his killing intent and smiled. It's nothing. I was just passing by today. Furthermore, The boy raised his head and looked at Lin Rei. His puzzled gaze stunned Lin Rei. Hee, you have to understand that I just happened to pass by this time. What about next time? What if I didn't pass by this time? The little boy didn't know how to answer Lin Rei's question. He understood that if Rua Lin didn't pass by today,
He and his little sister would definitely suffer today. Little boy, this world is far more cruel than you think. After a while, it seemed that the following words were a bit cruel, but he still said it. I know that you have hatred in your heart, but you have to remember that in this world, if you don't kill others, others will come and kill you. Only when you become strong can you protect the people you want to protect. Furthermore, blindly giving in will only increase the arrogance of those who bully you. This way, they will be even more unscrupulous towards you. Lin Rei's words made the little boy nod his head. I understand. And it's good that you understand. His gaze swept the surroundings. Looking at the 4 bare walls of the house, he subconsciously said, Where are your parents? They. After saying this, Lin Rei felt a bit of regret. That's right, for the 2 of them to fall to this state, they naturally didn't have parents. If they had parents, the scene of him stealing things wouldn't have happened. As for the little boy, when he heard Lin Rei's question, his body trembled and his face turned pale. He clenched his teeth and tears flowed down uncontrollably. The hatred in his eyes couldn't be concealed. The hatred in this little boy's heart is so strong. I really don't know if it's a blessing or a curse. Feeling the hatred in the boy's heart, Lin Rei bitterly smiled and shook his head. Big brother, our parents were killed by, all right little sister, let me say it. As if he was afraid that his little sister would be sad, the boy hurriedly said, Our parents were killed a year ago. Our house was also taken over, so, who are the enemies? Are you with them? For some reason, Lin Rei felt that there was something wrong with his brain. His parents were dead and his house was taken over. It would be strange if he didn't have hatred. City Lord Yu Tiancheng. It's the City Lord, Yu Tiancheng. My parents were killed by Yu Tiancheng because they accidentally bumped into their caravan. Because of that, they sent people to harm my parents. Without my parents in the family, the clansmen unscrupulously took over the entire family for themselves. My sister and I had no place to stay, so we ended up here. I originally thought that everything could be left unsettled, but I didn't expect that we would still be bullied here. As he spoke, the boy clenched his fists and his body trembled non-stop. It could be seen that the boy's heart was filled with hatred. As for the boy's words, Lin Rei seemed to have captured a piece of information. Yu Tiancheng? His surname is Yu? That's right. Wasn't the surname of the person he bumped into in the blanket not Yu? Then could there be some kind of connection between the 2 of them? When this thought appeared, his face instantly turned cold. Does Yu Tiancheng have a daughter? Yes, he has a daughter. Her surname is Yu and her name is Ling. She is the apple of his eye. It was because she collided with Yu Ling's carriage that my parents were killed. As expected. After getting the answer he wanted, Lin Rei had a plan in his heart. Although Lin Rei didn't think that he was a good person, he was still very resistant towards this kind of person. In his heart, Lin Rei had already sentenced Yu Ling to death. Treat? What a joke. How could he give his elixir to this kind of person? Wouldn't that taint his elixir? Alright, since you guys are fine, I will leave first. Be careful in the future. Remember my words. If you don't want to be bullied, then become stronger. Only by becoming stronger can you protect the people you want to protect. After speaking, Lin Rei stood up and planned to leave. Since he didn't plan to refine elixir for Yu Ling, there was no reason for him to stay here. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.